itself. That is the present day scenario. Flipped mode of learning. Students will come with basic knowledge. We will discuss from that point, but that point onwards. We will not start from the scratch, right? Let us see, again come back to the roles of IQAC. Student satisfaction surveys, best practices and institutional distinctiveness. What is this institutional distinctiveness? My institution should be different from the other institutions. In terms of what? All the thousands of colleges are following the same syllabus. If in our university, let us say around 170 colleges are there. All 170 colleges will be following same syllabus. Same exam they will write, excluding these autonomous colleges. I am talking about other normal colleges. They will follow same kind of syllabus prescribed by the FC and the university. Same pattern of examination, same questions, same evaluations time. Then how can we say that our students are better than the other institution? Maybe based on marks? Unfortunately, that is happening nowadays. You might have seen many votings in many of the colleges. Town first. Out of 400, 398. 397. So marks are the only criteria that we are following now. Same syllabus, same examination pattern, same evaluation style. The only marks are being treated as outcome and for comparison. But that is not the actual reality. So how can we say that your institution is different from the other institution? Think about it. How can we say that KVN is different from other? You must be able to say, other than teaching, other than regular syllabus, we are doing these things for benefit of students. We are doing a little bit extracurricular activities. You might have heard the term extraordinary person. That extra. So what are you doing in addition to the routine things? That gives the distinctiveness to your institution. Similarly, many of the teachers will be there, like me. I need to possess some extra quality as compared to other teachers. Then only I may be a distinct person. Maybe extra quality, maybe he may be good in teaching, or he may be good in problem solving, or he may be good in organizing the various events in the college, or he may be good in speaking, or he may be good in some other drafting, letter drafting. Like that, we need to have some extra quality. Then only distinctiveness will be there. So we need to strive for distinctiveness. Being an academician and being the higher education institution, we need to strive for the distinctiveness. Automatically that leads to the enhancement of quality. Automatically. That leads to the quality. And in the same line, don't worry, I will not read all the points. During the discussion, some points might have been covered by that time. So normally I used to have 5-6 slides. During the second slide itself, I might have covered many other things also. Don't worry. Time given is up to 2 o'clock. 45 minutes you need to bear. The feedback mechanism is the best, or is the compulsory thing. Why I should say best, I will explain it. It is the most essential thing in any institution. But what is the reason for feedback? Students are there. Have you given any type feedback? Feedback on teacher? Yes? At the end of the semester, you might have given feedback. Out of 5, 4, 5, 5, some pyramids they might have given, like how the teaching quality, is the teacher punctual, understandability, notes is the okay, right. Have you given feedback on the college facilities anytime? How the library is there? Especially there is a feedback on library, for example. How the other facilities, water facility, if power failure is there, generator facility is there or not. If lab facility, how the lab facilities are there. How the supporting staff are behaving with you. When you approach the office staff, they should not be rude. People will be coming with the different queries. Like that, in all directions, probably on the teachers only, all the institutions are taking feedback, as per my observation. Only few of the colleges are touching the other aspects also, like facilities, feedback on facilities, feedback on any other things, facilities including transportation also. Some students may say, not in this college, since it is the heart of the city, that problem may not arise, but in some colleges, college starts at 10. the bus will be at 8:30. The next bus is at 11 o'clock. Then by 8:30 only student should come. Student's time is wasted, 1.5 hour. Early you need to come. That may not be possible. If you want to catch the next bus, it is 11. 1 hour will be completed. He can attend only for the second hour. So like that additional logistics issues also you need to gather from the students periodically. That is okay. But unfortunately, feedback, the real essence of feedback is being used in a different sense in some of the institutions. What is the basic purpose of feedback? To improve only. To improve only. There are many parameters. Let us say how the teaching style, fine. English is able to speak reasonably understandable English, fine. Is the teaching speed, very speed or slow or moderate while delivering content. Is he giving necessary examples while discussion? Yes. Is he giving necessary notes? Yes. Like that people will be giving. But at a particular point, is his speed okay? If most of the people puts not okay or very fast like that helps me to fine tune my teaching style. What is the punctuality of a teacher? Teacher is not punctual. If class is for 10 o'clock, he will always be coming by 10:05. And leaving the class by 5 minutes before. Or he is killing the other teachers 5 minutes time or 10 minutes time. Like that, if I can know that in terms of feedback, I can rectify myself. So feedback is not for punishment. Feedback is not for assessing the teacher's things and using it as a weapon by the management while giving any monetary benefits. That should not be the case. Feedback is basically meant for the improvement of teacher so that I can know my loopholes, my pitfalls, I can rectify them. In the next semester, from the same section, if I take the same feedback, the points that I scored earlier, that should be improved in a particular parameter. English is not able to speak well. That is the feedback last semester I got. For the same section, if I take class for the coming semester also, for that point I need to get better feedback. So that helps me to improve myself. Is it right? So feedback should use as a tool for our improvement. So what is the outcome of improvement of a teacher quality normally? That reflects the quality of teaching, that reflects the better inputs to the students. Automatically students' performance will be good in that subject. That reflects the better results. That reflects the better results in the placements, better outcome in the placements. Again, if placements are good, that gives boost to the management and the teachers. They will work even hard to increase that. That reflects the society. Automatically, many of the students will join next year. I am trying to touch that cycle also. If many of the people are joining or competing for seat in a particular college, we can only give opportunity to the quality students then. Out of 60 student intake, if 1,000 people are competing to get the seat in our college, we can grab only meritorious students into the section. Automatically, section is meritorious section now. Teachers should work hard to satisfy those meritorious students. Ordinary class is not enough. If all the upset first ranker to below 500 rankers joined in my college, for example, teacher quality should be in parallel with the students' quality. So I need to work hard as a teacher. So automatically the quality bar will be raised. Where is the origin for this cycle? Where is the origin? Where is the origin? I wanted to touch many other issues, but by looking into the available time, I wanted to give focus on the essential things only. That's why dynamically, while speaking with you, I have fine-tuned my lecture and reshaped my lecture automatically by looking into the time. That's why I immediately touched the success cycle now. Because we are always worrying about quality in the institution. Right. Where is the origin of this quality cycle? During the initial days, we will strive hard. Teachers, students, management will strive hard. They will try to identify some kind of result. Encouragement. Again, with that result, they will try to improve the examination results in the initial stage. Later, they will think about the outcome during the placements. How many students students got placement? How many our students got government jobs? Maybe constable post or secretarial post or group jobs, whatever it is. Like that, we will worry about that. In the second stage, during the first stage, the early stages of the institution establishment, we will only focus on results, university results. Our pass percentage, university results, pass percentage. After that, our focus will be diverted to some other things like our success in placements. If placement success is good, automatically it will attract the more qualitative students to the institution. More qualitative students is compelling the teachers to improve their quality automatically. Substandard teacher cannot teach the quality section. So automatically teacher is compelled to improve his quality. Teacher quality is raised. That reflects in the classroom teaching. That reflects in the results. Maybe university result or placement. Again, more placements leads to more demand, more quality input. Again, more placements. Since quality input is there, that reflects in the placement results also. Quality input is there. Students' quality is good. Like that, it is a cycle. In this cycle, once you enter into that cycle, automatically every year, year by year, we will attract the quality content, quality input. To meet that quality input, we need to raise the bar, teacher quality bar. If you want to raise the teacher quality bar, management need to invest more money. Because you need to attract the more qualified teachers, more competitive teachers into the system. So that management need to invest the money. Where is more money for the management? Again, no problem. Already you are in quality circuit. Demand has been created in the society. You are attracting more number of students. So automatically your financial input will also be good. Demand is good, automatically financial input will also be good. That will be passed to the teachers, competent teachers. You will arrange the competent teachers. That will be passed to the student. That will be passed to the results. University. That is a quality cycle. Once you enter into that quality cycle, you now nothing to worry about. Cycle will be run automatically. Even to draw from that cycle also it will take years. Suddenly, all of a sudden, a well-established college, all of a sudden, it will not become zero. Gradually, it will become zero. Gradually. Like our eyesight or ear capacity. By this time, your hearing capacity or eyesight might have been decreased. All of a sudden, you will not become dumb and blind. Is it right? All of a sudden, gradually, maybe around 80 years or 90 years, time it will take if you want to reach that end stage. So, like that, once you enter into that cycle, it will be automatic. So, we need to strive hard to enter into that cycle, quality success cycle. Then, that's what student satisfaction survey, that should be used as a tool for us to improve our quality, not for the weapon to punish the stakeholder, teachers or anything. That is the thing. And one more direction I wanted to give here. If you want, if possible, try to convince the managements and administrators to have the feedback on colleagues' behavior also. Colleagues' behavior. Normally, we used to take feedback only on teaching quality, teaching performance. That's all. The facilities feedback as well as feedback on the colleagues, our own colleagues. In the department, there are 5 members. Each staff member has to give feedback on the other 4 members. Their behavior in the class, their behavior with the colleagues, their punctuality, their willingness to accept their help, their support during any situation, their willingness to support, extend their help. Like that, you can frame your own parameters. If you have that kind of colleagues' feedback also, that is a very good step towards maintaining the harmony in the department. Because I can also give feedback on my colleague. His behavior is not good or arrogant. Like that, on me, for that arrogant parameter, if everybody is talking negatively, I can realize myself. So colleagues' feedback is also essential to maintain harmony in the department. Again, that leads to a better working environment. That leads to better results, fruitful results. Better working environment, if teacher is busy, if that madam is busy, Bharati madam is busy with this workshop, our load should be shared by some other teachers without any pain. On the other day, if they are organizing anything or they are suffering with any other issue, she can take lead to help them. That kind of harmony should be there. Automatically that leads to the improvement in the academic system. So if possible, try to motivate your administrators to have such kind of feedback mechanism also. To have such kind of feedback. Again, I am reiterating, feedback should not be used as revenge tool. Even colleagues' feedback also, some people may use it as a revenge tool. That should not be the case. It is for our improvement only. You just try to see things in a positive sense. Right? And ensuring timely, efficient and progressive performance of academic and financial administration. Progressive performance, you see the term progressive performance. Progressive performance. In the name itself, it is there. Always try to improve the performance. Progressive performance. This time it results 90%, next time 92%, next time 90%. Like that, at least we need to maintain that. So always we need to ensure progressive performance. In the financial and academic administration, parameters are there. What about the financial administration? Because IQAC role is not connected to only academics. IQAC is also connected to the financial administration and general administration and academic administration. So what about the progression in financial administration? I don't know. We are all teachers. The IQAC coordinators are also teachers, but management is at the other side. We need to, if time permits or if opportunity is with you, you need to convince them to see that financial stability should also be maintained in the department. For example, this year during the lockdown or whatever it is, every month 15 days salary delay is there, for example. The management should see that at least from next academic year onwards, I need to give salary on the first or second. Like that. If 3 months delay is there in some of the colleges because of this pandemic situation, it should not happen. In future, it should not happen. So let us have buffer money for 5 months salary or 6 months salary. Like that, they can plan themselves. So in terms of financial administration also, improvement should be there. Last year, zero investment on the computer lab, zero investment on the library, for example. No, it should not be there. At least 10,000 or 20,000 you should invest on the library. 20,000, enough. 10,000 enough. That kind of very good decisions connected to the financial administration can be taken by the management. So that part also we need to enlighten. Being a part of the quality system, IQAC, the consulting charges, that part also we need to bring it to the notice of management. Of course, they will have their own dynamics. We cannot force them. They will have their own issues to run the institution. But we cannot force them. But we need to bring all such kind of petty issues into the notice of the management. Very minute issues. Let me say one example. You bring it to the notice, no problem. Because we are always striving for quality of the institution. Already institution raised to certain levels. NAAC accreditation, IQAC cell is there means institution raised to certain level. We need to bring it further. Let the management use 10,000 every year to every department. Let them spend freely, not on unnecessary things. They may use that 10,000 for conducting one seminar or inviting lecture or field trips or creating any other extra learning facility for the students. That extra can be decided by you, whatever you feel. Maybe field trip or maybe anything. So like that, if you can spare some 5,000 to 10,000 on every department as a policy matter, all together we have 10 departments, let us say. 10,000 may not be required for all departments. For certain departments, only 2,000, 5,000, maybe enough. Like that, if you can put a policy like that, every year, that becomes part along with the routine syllabus completion. Along with routine syllabus completion, you need to complete 2 programs every semester. Or you need to bring the students or take them to industry, at least 1 day or 2 days. Show them how the things are going on. Just one example, let me give one example. How many of you are using Amazon or Flipkart? Because students are also there, that's why I wanted to catch them also. If all the audience are only faculty, my lecture would have been in a different sense. In many of the students I could see young faces here. That's why Amazon and Flipkart, how many of you observed the activity involved with the complete database activity. Every day new products are being pumped into the portal with images and all description. Every day new products. And once a candidate booked a product, purchased a product, its count will be reduced. This is okay, this is one part, and payment issues is another part. And another part is dealing with the customers and dealing with the suppliers also. We are only concentrating on dealing with customers, Amazon and Flipkart, because we are all customers. But who will supply that? The Amazon team should also have tie-ups with the suppliers, local suppliers. From the supplier only you are getting your product. So we are only seeing one end. If you can post-mortem that entire application, complete semester long discussion can be taking place. If you post-mortem that simple issue, Amazon working, how Amazon works, how the data base of Amazon works, how the orders will be placed, how data will be maintained, flow. If you see that, it is equal to almost one semester work. Very simple. Bus in the RTC buses also you are getting your tickets. What is that machine? Ticket issuing machine. Have you ever discussed or inquired about that with the conductor? As soon as we step into the bus, we will be busy with phones or earphones. Is it right? You should not do like that. We need to observe. We need to observe the society. TIM is the ticket issuing machine. If you can look into that, stages will be fixed. Starting stage and ending stage. If stages are changed, starting and ending stage, corresponding fare will also be changed in the machine. So like that, lot of database activities going on. At the end of the trip, you will take a consolidated printout, a big strip. You try to see the various connecting activity involved in that simple machine. That can be discussed in 2 days. Complete. In complete day long, we can discuss its working. Not the hardware working, the connected data issues. So like that, there are many issues. We need to get exposure. That is also an extra thing other than our curriculum. That is also an extra thing other than our curriculum. Once we visited, you will be surprised, once we visited VTPS thermal power station, Tataro thermal power station, there they have shown us one application where a screen is there, thermal power VTPS, how much production is there, power production, Kottagoda how much production, Srisailam how much production. Like that, all the various stations production capabilities are being shown. If suddenly at one station if it is zero, that alerts the other people to increase the production here. Parallelly, how much consumption is also there on the one screen. In the Vijayawada, for example, consumption is reduced because of this cold weather. Consumption is reduced. They will accordingly reduce the production also. Because power cannot be stored. It should be dispersed. It cannot be stored. Even to store simple 20 kVA, 30 kVA, we are investing lakhs of rupees with these batteries. So that huge power cannot be stored. So they need to balance. If you see that application, so all the stations connectivity is being observed. We can invest 1 week to 10 days to study that, the internal dynamics. We are not getting exposed to such kind of events. Just listening and writing the examinations. But when you are talking about quality concern, that extra part need to be taken care. I request all the connected managements and teachers here, don't worry about the routine syllabus. That will be taken care automatically. Timetable will be there, we will be taking regular class. That will be taken care. Even if you are not taken care also, students will take care, don't worry. That will be there always. In some of the cases, if teacher is not that much attractive, students will learn on their own. That is also there. Now UGC has also made mandate that you need to have open elective system. No need to assign teacher. Throw some 20 or 30 list of subjects. Student can opt any one of these subjects and he can learn on his own through MOOCs course or NPTEL and write the exam. That is there. We are introducing that. In every semester, one course, open elective, or one generic course or MOOCs course, where teacher will not be assigned. You need to learn on your own. So the syllabus part will be taken care of at any cost, no problem. But we need to think about that extra part only. So since you are worrying about quality, that extra part need to be taken care. That's all. And what makes your institution distinct, unique as compared to others? If you can present that during your meetings, in department meetings or the higher level meeting, if you can present that, that question mark solves the problem automatically. You will identify what is extra, what can be done extra. Okay. For the students also I am giving, what is the difference between a successful candidate and unsuccessful candidate who are getting a job? Very simple question. What is the difference between successful? You got bank job or you got some, not IAS, I am not talking about that much. So you got a bank job, let us say, or a simple job. Some your friend did not get, he could not. Where is the difference? Probably you might have answered some extra questions correctly. Is it right? 10 questions instead of 10 questions he has corrected 10, you answered 20 questions correctly. That extra question or 2 questions or whatever, that extra performance in the examination leads to success. Similarly, the academic institutions also, the amount of work that you have performed extra or in addition to the routine academics, that leads to the quality and success. That's all. Everywhere, worry about that extra. To get the job also worry about that, the students. What is extra that you have in terms of quality as compared to your friends? That extra leads you to the success, that's all. Okay. Relevance and quality of academic programs. This is also most important, but in autonomous system that will be possible, but non-autonomous system that may not be possible. Whatever is thrown by the constituent bodies, we need to follow. But in the autonomous system, you have the freedom to identify relevant courses, relevance and quality of academic programs. So what is the reason for now always pumping the IoT courses and data science courses? Yesterday, last year also, I think your college has introduced data science course in KPN. Because that is relevant as per the present day need. That is relevant, that's why you introduced that course. Why not you introduce any new course in BA program? In the present day society, that may not be relevant, I don't know. That's why you are always talking about relevance. In BTech programs also, nowadays artificial intelligence, machine learning, IoT, data science, these streams are coming up. Only because of the relevance. Because they are all relevant to the present day situation, present day need. So always, while throwing or while introducing or pumping, rolling out the new courses, especially in autonomous colleges, we need to look for the relevance in the private colleges or in the government colleges. Automatically, without our knowledge, we will be doing that only. Just like that, we will not throw the courses. We will always think about the demand. Based on the college, the courses will be introduced. And the equitable access to academic programs for various sections of the society with affordable cost. I think teachers are also there. You might have seen the intermediate board has recently kept a rule. Only how many sections? 9 sections it seems.
Yes.
If teachers can correct me if I am wrong. 9 sections, 9 into 40. 40 students each, 360 intake only. And the compulsory BA group should be there. HEC group and CEC group should be there. You should not only pump MPC group in the intermediate. Because most of the people who join in MPC or YPC, next option. You should not put the college, you should not introduce invest entire effort on the YPC or MPC. If you want to have a college, you need to have a provision for HEC and CEC groups also. That is the government policy. You see the point. Equitable access to academic programs. So if anybody wants to join BA course because of his passion, he wants to study history and economics, the entire Vijayawada, if there is no opportunity to join that course, what the student can do? I have a passion to learn history and economics, for example. In all the colleges of Vijayawada town, no HEC group is there. So what can I do? Because the opportunity should also be given to such kind of people. That is the reason. Equitable access and academic groups. Of course, at the IQAC level, that decision may not be taken, but that is being taken care by the government nowadays. And to promote various activities, like already we have discussed that. Next slide, next slide. Integration of modern teaching and learning, this is also being happening nowadays. We have seen this usage of LCD long back, digital boards and LCDs long back. But this pandemic situation forces us to identify innovative ways of teaching. Now we are observing, here only some around 50 to 60 participants are there. On the online, thousands of participants may also be there. We don't know. So we forcibly, situations are forcing us to bring our class out of the room. That is, now we are witnessing. So that quality situations will always force us to look for the innovative things. Now parallelly we are taking class for the people who can attend. Who cannot attend also, we are streaming the videos parallelly. That is there. And the credibility of evaluation procedure, this is also one of the important things. This is not for students, it is for only the teachers community only. Credibility of evaluation system. I got 90 marks. Am I really deserve that? Now we are seeing people will be getting 80, 90 percentages, but the quality of that candidate is not reflecting that mind. We might have seen teachers 90%, 10 GPA, 10 GPA. In intermediate 10th class, out of 10 CGPA, 10 CGPA. That means 100% performance. Does it mean that he can answer any question? Even from the syllabus? No guarantee. So the percentage figure is not reflecting the actual caliber. And the evaluation process also integrity. We are talking about credibility of evaluation. You might have seen in a particular college, he can earn more than 7 CGPA, very good. But in the X college, other college, even if he gets 9 also, no use. 9 can, 9 no problem. They will give 9s minimum. But here, in some other college, touches 7 means very good. That kind of disparity is there. But the evaluation system procedure should also be false proof and the integrity should also be there. And credibility. Credibility means from a particular college, if a student earns 8 points means, yes, he is a qualitative, it reflects directly. In some other college, there is no guarantee. 8 points may be equal to 5 or 4, I don't know. That kind of situations are also there in the society. Maybe because of the peer pressures to attract the more students, I don't know, they may be doing that. But that is not correct. That is not correct. So evaluation system should be in such a way that the outcome of the evaluation process should reflect the real quality of the student. Internals 50, externals some like that. Internals 40, externals 60 like that. Internal 50, 40, 39 will get, 38 will get. But out of 60 will get only 20. Or 24, just pass mark. 24 plus 40, 64. So his percentage is 64. That means first class. Really he is the first class candidate. Just to get 24 out of 60, he has tried hard. But we are branding him as a 64% candidate by adding these internals. Shall we feel are these two are equal? No. We need to work on it. The academicians and system, entire system need to work on it. This is not for students, just for thought-provoking idea and posing towards the faculty. Okay. Networking with other institutions will always help us because expertise sharing. So we may be having expertise in one domain, the other people may be having in another domain. We can have always the networking with other institutions help us to share the best practices, to share the human resources, to share any other facilities, we can. And development of benchmark quality parameters. Already I mentioned that benchmark means a standard quality parameter. If he has 60 or 70 GPA, yes, fine. Benchmarking. That standardization benchmark quality parameter, that is unfortunately that is also being followed as per the statutory body's guidelines. Colleges are not given that much freedom, even in the autonomous system also. Even in the autonomous system, they cannot keep 9 as first class, 8 as pass mark. Pass mark 40% or 50% in line with the statutory body's guidelines, UGC guidelines. So a lot of freedom is not given in that case. Creation of learner-centric academic environment. What is this learner-centric academic environment? Learner-centric academic environment. Student-friendly environment. Faculty-friendly environment. I am posing some terms to bring the clarity. If it is a faculty-friendly environment, management will not bother about when you are coming on your leave. For example, any leaves can be opted. Flexible timings. Lot of medical leaves facility. Advanced facilities are faculty-free environment, faculty-friendly environment. If it is student-friendly environment, no harassment on the students, fair evaluation, grudge should not be there on particular student. Fair evaluation, students should feel happy to come to the college. Lot of time is given in the library. Up to 12 o'clock also you can read if you want. Up to 10 o'clock also you can spend in the computer lab. Let us keep one technician there. Up to 10 o'clock. If anybody wants to do something, let them do. Teachers need not stay there. We need to give provision to the students at least. Like that, if that kind of environment is present in the institution, that is student-friendly environment. Like that, learner-centric, we are talking about learner-centric, term learner-centric academic environment. What is that? Learner-centric means whatever the activities that you have designed and implemented, that should be by keeping the students benefited. That's all. Learner-centric environment. Whatever you do, that should be beneficial to the students. You may have one doubt here. What is the use of IPSC seminar for us? Why you have kept us to sit here? That may be a doubt in some of the minds. So you should also know what are the other dynamics that are taking place in the institution. Not only classes and all, there are many other issues in the background working. You should also know that for that reason, people will bring you to the programs like this. Because how the institutions are and governments are striving hard to improve the quality. That is there. Okay. And the arrangement of feedback mechanisms already we know. And there I talked about, I mentioned about alumni and industry, etc. Alumni and industry. Earlier we are talking about the feedback from academic peers, feedback from the colleagues, feedback from the students, and feedback on the facilities also we just mentioned. What about that alumni and industry, old students? If I can get feedback from the old student, you just best advisor is to join in a college or to join in a particular course of your program to get the job, Java course, .NET course, something like that. To join any short-term program, best advisor is the student who is searching for the job. Don't believe on the teachers even, frankly I am telling you. Even if I suggest you also don't believe. You can believe the words of a student who is searching for the job. Because he will be attending many interviews, he will be knowing what the other person is asking and where he has. He will be knowing the difference between the things that he has learned during his 3 or 2 years program and the actual reality in the market. He can easily identify that gap. So the student who is searching for the job, really, who is seriously searching for the job is the best advisor for the final year students. That is my belief. Don't believe the teachers also even. Unfortunately, you might have also seen many of the cases, unfortunately, the village students after 10th class, I am observing that. They just approach a school teacher or an educated person who might have completed some 10-20 years back his education. maybe relation, uncle, what shall I do after 10th class? Some X course seems to be very good, you join in that. Or engineering may be very good, pharmacy may be very good, BPC may be very good, VMPC, like that, they may say something, but they are not the real advisors. My feeling, because we are seeing many dynamics for what courses, what kind of opportunities are there, how the students are facing problems and courses. Even colleges also, the best advisor is a final year student who is pursuing some course in particular college. If you ask him, he can easily tell, this college is good, this college is good, this college is not, something like that. That is the reason, that the alumni feedback, even for our academic institutions, is very much essential because he can easily spot out the gaps in the syllabus. Sir, you made us to learn these concepts, but in industry, they are asking some other thing. So whatever learned during these 3 years, there are not that much use. I am not able to get it there. If this concept is also there in the syllabus, I would have got the job by this time. Everybody is asking .NET. Sir, why can't we put .NET in the regular curriculum? I would have studied in the 4th semester, 5th semester, now I would have got the job. Now there is a compelling situation for me to again go to the institute and learn. Like that, you will give real input to enrich our curriculum. So alumni feedback is very much essential. And industry. Because industry people will be having better idea about the future things, coming projects or future things. So that they can also guide us in a better way. So by the time it has been introduced as a buzzword in the society, you can have that course in the curriculum. Everybody is now talking about, for example, machine learning and artificial intelligence. If you get that industry feedback some couple of years back, you might have got that idea 2 years back itself. In the coming future, artificial intelligence may be coming up because they have that awareness. So before 2 years itself, we might have introduced that course in the curriculum. By the time of becoming that artificial intelligence as a buzzword, our students are out. They can easily get it. అర్థమవుతుందా? అంటే 2 ఏళ్ల తర్వాత వచ్చేది ఇప్పుడే వాళ్ళు వెయిట్ చేయగలిగితే ఇప్పటి నుంచే పెడితే మీరు బయటకు వచ్చే టైంకి అది బస్వర్డ్గా మారచ్చు, వెంటనే జాబ్ వస్తుంది. సో ఇండస్ట్రీ ఫీడ్బ్యాక్ ఈస్ వెరీ మచ్ ఎసెన్షియల్ టు నో ది cutthroat developments, ongoing developments. And alumni feedback is very much essential to know the gaps in the syllabus, gaps in our curriculum. Because they have faced many problems. Now also they are facing problems while searching for the jobs. So they can easily spot out the gap in the curriculum. So that is, alumni means a qualitative alumni only we need to take into consideration. Not just like that alumni, they cannot say anything. A good student who is really very serious in pursuing the job. Okay. Dissemination of information on various quality parameters and development of quality culture. That is already being done by the IPAC. Periodically, they need to send circulars, they need to send formats, they need to enlighten the other stakeholders of the institution also. These are all the things that we need to do every semester, every year. So please do take care like that. They need to periodically bring awareness among the colleagues. And documentation. What is the use of documentation? You might have seen in your office also, your entire results statistics will be there. Last year, how many people passed, how many people appeared, how many people passed, or is there any university rank something, how many placed in which company. Like there are many statistics. What is the use of maintaining such kind of documentation? Whatever you do, document it. What is the use? That helps for our decision making in the future. Next year we can look into the previous year's statistics and we can look for the betterment. We can look for the betterment always. That helps us. And this time there is a program, for example, she has documented, the coordinator has documented who are the resource persons, the schedules and topics, everything, how they have planned this program, and entire thing is documented, starting from initial brochure to the final feedback of the participants. Next year, if other coordinator, if IQS coordinator changes, let us say, if other person wants to arrange similar kind of program, it helps as a guide. It helps as a model, and even the same coordinator also This DCS program documentation helps as a guide to look into the problems or issues that were faced. Next year fine tuning, next year developments, next year it can be updated, it can be fine tuned. So like the documentation will always help us to take the decisions. So documentation is very much essential in the institutions, and similarly you just convince the management IQAC cell need to be established with full-fledged machinery. Machinery doesn't mean computer. Enhancement. Machinery supporting staff. One or two data entry operators, one attendant, necessary printer and computer like that. If you have sufficient office setup, that is possible. Documentation is possible. They can collect the data and keep preserving. How the constant bodies will believe that you are doing many activities and yours is a quality institution. How we can believe? Results are not the parameter, I already mentioned it. Even if you sit in the house also, you can get 90 marks. Okay. Marks are not the criteria. College life means we need to have all kinds of fun. All kinds of experiences and fun. It's not simply reading and writing the examination. That can also be done by the old people, 70, 80 years. Old people can also read and write the exams. College fun should always be there. Many of the programs might have been organized by the departments. You might have involved in decorations, writing script and reading it here, announcement anchoring. You might have arranged many things like tiffins, lunches, everything. You might have worked on the cultural programs. A lot of issues, lot of quarrels among the students during that organization, and settling by themselves. Sometimes money will be shortage. The students will pull up 100 rupees, 100 rupees or 50 rupees. They manage the finance. Like that, many dynamics, you got the opportunity to involve yourself in such kind of opportunity. College should provide such kind of opportunity also to involve yourself and learn many things. Even to perform anchoring also, you need to perform 5-6 rehearsals. The boy who has spelled out my biodata, he might have rehearsed 2-3 times, I know, easily. That anxiety you will face here, it cannot be bought with money. You need to come here and look in this direction, aerial view, and speak something. That anxiety you need to feel by yourself, then only that is a learning experience. From there you are seeing, but from here your view is different. Your legs will be shivering. You may not get voice sometimes. Whatever you have prepared, that will be exhausted within 2 to 3 minutes. Whatever the rest of the 10-15 minutes. All these things can only be learned by your involvement and experience. It cannot be bought with money. So college should provide such kind of facility to the students also to involve themselves. It's not for simply reading and writing the examination and throwing it away. It's not for that. You need to face many dynamics. Okay. Next. Already I mentioned about that impressed money concept. And buffer staff, maintaining buffer staff is always required in the institution. Teaching and not teaching. What is the use of maintaining buffer staff? Because you are always talking about quality. Suddenly if one faculty member leaves, or suddenly because of health reason, if he is absent for 2 to 3 months on medical grounds, we need to have sufficient 1 or 2 additional buffer staff to share that role. Both teaching and not teaching. That may not be a big issue. Just with the minimum amount you can have freshers also. So if you want to have quality, burden should be reduced on the teacher. Teacher should not be burdened with many classes, many laboratory sections and other administrative duties. If the teacher is overloaded, that reflects on the classroom delivery. That is the reason for putting buffer staff in the departments. So minute things can be delegated to them. So the quality teachers and senior teachers will be concentrating on other essential things. So one or two at least department, for every department, for big department, but not for the small departments. For big department, let us have 1 buffer staff at least. Management, computer science, commerce, like that. Big departments will be there. Where 10-15 members are there. At least 1 buffer employee in segment. for sustaining quality. And feedback is already, I mentioned about the feedback also. Feedback about the colleagues' behavior also. Colleagues' behavior. And monthly report and day-wise, this is okay. We can create a Google form. Bharti, please, you can note it down. Next time you can define it. We can create a Google form, and every week the department will send the number of programs conducted, or student attendance, whatever you feel. Whatever you feel, that can be recorded. Automatically that can be recorded. So at the time of visits, NAC visit or any other constituent body visits, no need to worry about that. Everything is already recorded weekly basis. You can consolidate it. And if a teacher attends any program, by default compel them that they need to produce one Xerox copy of the certificate. One Xerox copy of his attendance or whatever it is. You can easily pull up. Every time you need a task. Every time you need a task. Monthly you can consolidate everything and produce everything in front of the principal. He will verify. If from any department, if it is very less, he can guide them. That is a healthy competition also. Why the computer science people have attended 5 webinars during this lockdown? Why the other department attended only 2, only 1? Achieve. At least attend 2, like that he can guide. So that helps them. And IQAC diary of daily activities can also be maintained. Today, not only IQAC, the entire college, diary of events can be maintained by the maybe academic cell director. You can guide him. Let him put a diary. Today date 5, IQAC second day seminar speakers. That's a one line. Details will be available in the concerned section. We will have that diary. In the diary, it helps the management, the top level management, principal and the secretary. In the diary, after 5th, in the December itself, up to 25th, there is no activity. That is an alarming situation to the management. Why these 20 days, no activity, nothing is recorded, only teaching and learning? No extra? Extra, I always focusing on extra. Why only teaching learning, no extra during these 20 days? Like that you can think about it and take the decision. That helps us if you put the diary. Otherwise, we will be an impression in the abstract sense. Things are going on, that last month that seminar, this month this seminar, that month that workshop, like that you will be counting. But if you see the real gap, it will be months also sometimes. So it helps you at least to organize 2 or 3 every month. Diary is important. Rough only, just rough only, no need to put a formatter, just rough. And involvement of everyone is very much essential. Starting from the top level to bottom level people, bottom level employees, including the students. Involvement of everyone is essential to sustain the quality. That is my final conclusion. Even the students also, because students are there, let me give one. You can also maintain a day. I don't know whether you follow me or not. If you follow these, I can give more than 200% guarantee for your success. Every day, take a small note in your bag. That the bag is దాంట్లో చార్జర్లు అవి కాకుండా ఇయర్ ఫోన్లు వాటర్ బాటిల్సే కాకుండా బుక్స్తో పాటుగా చిన్న నోట్ కోడ్ పెట్టండి. దాంట్లో ఎవ్రీడే 5 చాలా ఎక్కువ 5 న్యూ టర్మ్స్ and their meanings or terminology, just terminology. No need of having mastering knowledge. Terminology. What is abbreviation for TIM? Yesterday, just before I mentioned, ticket issuing machine, ATM, automatic teller machine, SIM card. SIM చెప్పండి anyone of you? Subscriber identity module. అంటే దాంట్లో నీ పేరు, నీ అడ్రస్, నీ నెంబర్ అదంతా ఉంటుంది కదా. సిమ్ కార్డులో నీ డేటా ఉంటుంది. మన ఐడెంటిటీ ఉంటుంది కదా, ఈ సిమ్ ఎవరిది అని, అంతే కదా, నీ ఆధార్ నెంబర్తో సహా రికార్డ్ అయి ఉంటుంది. అట్లా రోజుకి 5 వాట్ ఈజ్ ఆపరేటింగ్ సిస్టమ్, కంప్యూటర్ సైన్స్ పీపుల్ అయితే, కామర్స్ పీపుల్ అయితే వాట్ ఈజ్ జిఎస్టీ, వాట్ ఈజ్ కాంపోజిట్ జిఎస్టీ. ఐఎమ్ సీయింగ్ మెనీ బోర్డ్స్. వీఆర్ అండర్ కాంపోజిట్ స్కీమ్స్. వీఆర్ నాట్ చార్జింగ్ ఎనీ అడిషనల్ జిఎస్టీ అని లైక్ దట్ బోర్డ్స్ ఐఎమ్ సీయింగ్. వాట్ ఈస్ దట్ కాంపోజిట్ జిఎస్టీ? వాట్ ఈస్ రెగ్యులర్ మోడ్ జిఎస్టీ? Is it beneficial to the customer? That's why he has kept that, otherwise he would not keep that. So composite GST may be beneficial to the customer. Why they have kept like that, especially the grocery shops and other shops. If it is a television shop or computer shop, they will have a separate GST, 18%, 12%. Grocery shop, they cannot impose GST on 2 rupees fruit packet or 5 rupees pen. That's why they have a composite GST. I don't know. I may be wrong. I may be wrong. I am not a commerce man. I understood like that. I understood like that by seeing that. Like that, you can brainstorm yourself every day 5 issues. How many for 1 year? I used to say always the same kind of narration because to enlighten them. How many for 1 year? 365 into 5, 1800 plus. Even for the high-end interviewer also, he cannot remember more than 100. If you appoint me as interviewer, I cannot ask more than 100 to 150 questions. Even I cannot remember also. The same kind of things I will be asked because out of 1800, can't you pick up those 100 answers? Interviewer may ask 10 out of that 100. You can answer very easily. 1 year 1800, next year another 1800. Within these 2 years course, 3600 plus terminologies. That's why I assured you that you can get more than 200%. Even for the interviewer, that much knowledge will not be there. Interview చేసేవాళ్ళు కూడా ఉండదండి. You will be worrying, we will be moving around 50 to 60% only always. Those 50 to 60, that's why during your Viva examinations also, first student after coming out, what are the questions that he is asking, what is the answer that you have given, like that we will be gathering that. After 5-6 students' performance will be suddenly raised. The examiner will be surprised. Why the first 2 students could not answer and how these people are answering? Then I need to look for other questions. Otherwise, same answers will be there. So I need to give marks in such a way that the first student is the sufferer. Because of his paper is leaked. The last student will get more marks if I repeat the same question. So after 5-6 students, I need to have the other questions. Even if you think about the questions also, if section contains 60 students, I can give new questions for 10 to 15 students only. Again for the second and 20th student or 21st student, same questions will be repeated. That is the scenario. I am practically speaking. Interviewer is not a person who drawn from the heaven. He is also like us only. You build up that confidence and put a small notes, write every day 5 like that. I can give more than 200% guarantee. Anybody. That is my observation only. Please believe me. And whatever I am speaking, that I normally used to dig into that, then only I speak. I will not simply follow the textbook and speak it out. ఎవడో రాసింది నేను చెప్పానండి. అది నిజమని నమ్మితేనే మాట్లాడతా బయటకు వచ్చి. So that is my personal, even teachers also believe that. Okay. Thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, Bharati madam, for giving me this opportunity. Share my experience. Lot of things are there, but they have given me only 90 minutes. I used to say some nonsense for 20 to 15 minutes. Nonsense means useful nonsense. That's the reason that I am cut shorting my presentation here. If next time if opportunity comes, I will have wider discussion on many other issues. I will continue this, right? Please, one hour. I had another side, essential qualities of teaching, leave, and then leave it. Teaching methods suitable for 21st century, I have also kept that slide, but because of the time limitations, I put that.
This is quite interesting, sir.
In a rush mode, I will try to complete it within 5 minutes. In a rush mode. The flipped classroom I already mentioned. In the earlier scenario, we used to discuss in the classroom and homework will be given. But now, let the students get the basic information at home. Discussion will be taken place in the class as a homework. It's not homework, classwork. You read the preliminaries, let us solve the problems in the class. Reverse, simply reverse. That is the kind of discussions nowadays. You have the preliminary things, come with the doubts, let us discuss the doubts here. That is flipped mode of learning. That is the art of 21st century. Everybody started doing that now. And project-based learning already, in the schools you might have observed, the prototypes will be given for the students. Then this kind of classroom, any other prototypes. People used to build up the prototypes. Even for our higher education also, if I give a simple question like how many are attended from what place, like that I ask you to design a form, online form. That is a simple project for you. During the design process, you might have learned many things like what is the primary key. For the coming person, what are the various attributes that we need to record, his name, his where he is from, his ID, his mobile number, his email ID. Like that, whether he requires any accommodation or not. If he requires accommodation, which kind of accommodation? Single room or double room or AC, non-AC? How many? 2 people or 200 or 500? Like that, many issues you will be undergoing. So that is a learning opportunity. So even if I teach it for 100 times also, you will not get that much of conceptual fixing. Once you are involved in designing a form for this program, automatically you will learn semester-long exposure. So project-based learning and cooperative learning. Cooperative learning means you will be doing this. Whatever the teacher has taught during the 2-3 months, we can learn from our friend within 2 hours. Have you observed that? I don't know. We used to do like that. The teacher has spent 7 days to complete a chapter, but our friend will teach us within 1 hour. During the examination times also, we will sit with our friends and important questions within 3-4 hours we will brush up everything. Is it right? Cooperative learning. What is the use of cooperative learning? Not for the learner, even for the your friend also who is teaching. The concept will be fixed in his brain. He will not forget it. If I teach a class to my friend, I should not feel that it is waste of my time. I should feel that it is an opportunity to fix that concept, so that in the examination I can easily write. Of course, you can also learn from me, you can also write, but that also helps me in one direction. In the other direction, if you continue like that during your academic period, your student life, that helps you to improve your explanation skill, your teaching skill. In the university when I was a student, during the examination period, my room used to be filled with 9 to 10 people every time. People used to come and explanation. 7-8 times, same thing. That will be fixed. Even now also I can without looking into the textbook, we can again narrate the content because of the repetitions. Even Bahubali cinema, let us see, how many times you have watched? Once or twice. But you cannot narrate sequence of steps, is it right? Because we have not repeated it many times. But I have seen 1 or 2 olden days movies during my childhood days. Till now also I can narrate step by step, scene by scene. Because many times you might have explained it to your friends in the school. Because you are a celebrity for the 1 week. When you saw a movie, after that you are a celebrity for 1 week to 5 days. All the students will come to you. What is the story? Where you want? Sir, I went to Vijayawada. I have seen this movie. Like that, we became celebrity. And all the students will be, what is the story? Like that, they used to inquire. We used to explain during the break times the entire story. That because the number of times that you are recollecting, that helps you a lot. Recollection. Intermediate Narayana Chaitanya Naga మనం కూడా ఎక్కువ మంది వాళ్ళు రోజు ఎందుకు పరీక్ష పెడతారు? Everyday writing, చూడకుండా రైట్. Final exam, automatically it will stop and like that. The recollection helps us to fix the content. Right? Gamification. Game as a learning tool. That is also happening. Game as a learning tool. But it will be suitable for schools nowadays. Not for our higher education. But for higher education also, I may give one example. In the Sunday, we are seeing Sudoku game. Sudoku game on the Enhancement paper and the Sakshi papers, if you see, Sunday magazine book back side. The puzzle, words puzzle is there. Nilugu, Adamga, Manam, fill. That is a game kind of learning. In the Hindu paper, you can learn English spellings very well. English game, Sudoku game, the English like puzzle will be there. Starts with E, M, then 5 words. Then you can write employment or something like that. You can look for the words and you can build out your terminology, vocabulary. So that is also there for learning strategy. And the problem-based learning and cyclic learning process. So why I have kept the cyclic learning process is, I will give initially a simple problem to you. You will come up with a solution. If solution is wrong, I will explain. Otherwise, I will give a little bit complicated problem to you tomorrow. You will come with again partial solution or full solution. Again, little bit complicated problem. Like that, start with initial simple problem to more complicated problem. I will try to extend. Automatically, you will be learning. Automatically. Because every day we are extending the problem complexity and we are discussing it. So that is a learning strategy. Cyclic learning process. That's why I kept like that. I give a problem, you come with me, I will not give you. I will increase the complexity and again you will go out and modify it and come to me. That is a cyclic process. So that start from initial stage to more complicated stage, you can discuss the problems. Then next. Design thinking. Design thinking is more suitable for industry. Industry people are following that only. Design thinking means in the classroom environment, all those 50, 60 students are not uniform in terms of their caliber. So I need to identify each student's separate caliber, separate requirement. This girl may be good in programming, maybe not that much good in theory. That girl may be good in theory. Programming may be problem. So I need to identify such individual requirements and so try to address all those issues separately. మీరు చూసారమ్మా ఇండస్ట్రీలో డిజైన్ థింకింగ్ ఉంటుంది ఎట్లా అంటే నేను బస్సులో పోతుంటే సారీ ఐఎమ్ కన్వర్టెడ్ టు తెలుగు బస్సులో పోతుంటే ఇద్దరు అమ్మాయిలు కూర్చున్నారు అమ్మాయి అబ్బాయి కూర్చున్నారు ఇద్దరు అమ్మాయిలు అమ్మాయి అబ్బాయి ఒకే ఫోన్ నుంచి 2 ఇయర్ ఫోన్స్ పెట్టుకున్నారు రెండు అంటే రెండు ఒక చెవులో కాదు రెండు చెవుల్లోకి అంటే ఇటు నుంచి 2 వచ్చినాయి ఇక్కడ నుంచి 2 వచ్చినాయి ఎవరు ఇలా పెట్టుకున్నారు ఒకే సినిమా చూస్తున్నారు ఫోన్ పెట్టుకుని ఈవెన్ ఫర్ మై ఫోన్ ఆల్సో ఆ చార్జర్ ఏదో సీ టైప్ అంట దొరకట్లేదంట మార్కెట్లో రావట్లేదంట షాప్ అతను ఏం చేశాడంటే వేరే చార్జర్ ఇచ్చి ఆ పిన్ పట్టట్లా దానికి కనెక్టర్ ఒకటి ఇచ్చాడు 20 రూపీస్ ఎక్స్ట్రా తీసుకో దానికి వచ్చితే ఇక్కడ వచ్చేటప్పుడు ఇది లావ్ అయింది అనమాట అవుట్కమ్ లావ్ అయింది కనెక్టర్ కార్లో పెడతారు మీరు చూసారా ఒక గుబ్బ పెట్టి 10 రకాల వైర్లు ఉంటాయి ఏ చార్జర్ అయినా ఫిట్ అయింది దాన్ని చూసారు కదమ్మా అవన్నీ ఎందుకు వచ్చినాయి మార్కెట్లోకి బికాస్ కస్టమర్స్ నీడ్స్ ఆర్ లైక్ దట్ customer needs are like that. So by looking into the specific need of the customer, the industry has designed like that. Designing వచ్చింది అందుకే కదా ఇది ఇంత ఎందుకు వచ్చింది మోక్కు నొచ్చు పెట్ట అందరూ నా ఎత్తే ఉండరుగా టౌన్ ఉంటుంది ఇట్లా ఉంటారు ఇక్కడే ఉంటారు తనకే ఉంటారు కదమ్మా అందుకే మీరు పెట్టారు ఫ్లెక్సిబుల్గా ది బేసిక్ రీజన్ బిహైండ్ దిస్ డిజైన్ ఇస్ ది కస్టమర్ నీడ్. That is design thinking. Similarly, in the classroom also, all the students are not uniform, homogeneous. They are heterogeneous. So we need to identify each student specific requirement and try to solve it. Then only quality will be improved. Same kind of lecture I cannot give to all people. Only 10 or 15 people may catch it, the other people will switch off their brains. So I need to identify such kind of learning strategies and teaching strategies. That is design thinking. Thinking based learning is quite common. I will do some assignments, not the common assignments. An assignment which involves more critical thinking. You need to solve on your own. Like that, we can also give problems in such a way that the students need to invest a lot of thinking to solve them. మన case studies, experiments, assignment. Competency based learning. ఇది ఒక్కటే నేను హైలైట్ చేశాను, అండర్లైన్ చేశాను, కాంపిటెన్సీ బేస్డ్ లెర్నింగ్. సో ఇన్ ది డిస్కషన్స్ ఐ మెన్షన్డ్ అబౌట్ అవుట్కమ్ బేస్డ్. అవుట్కమ్ వాట్ ఈస్ దిస్ కాంపిటెన్సీ బేస్డ్? ఫర్ ది ఫస్ట్ 3 girls I have taught how to prepare tea, for example. How can I know that this girl is not good in preparation of tea, this girl is good, this girl is okay, like that? After their products verification, their learning outcome we will see. Learning outcome is prepared tea. That tea will taste. By looking into the learning outcome, I can assess their competence. Only once I will explain the algorithm, you need to reproduce it immediately. Like that I will give a question. Only once I will explain and switch off. మీరు అప్పుడప్పుడు చూసుంటారు 5 seconds I will give. You remember all the numbers or symbols that are there on the board. I will switch off. Then you need to write what are the numbers that you remember. So by looking into that, I can identify your remembrance skills. 10 నిమిషాలు వేస్తా స్క్రీన్ ఆపుతా. స్క్రీన్ మీద ఉన్నంతా రాయండి అంట లైన్ బై లైన్. మీరు రాసిన దాన్ని బట్టి ఎవరి కాంపిటెన్సీ ఏంటో నాకు అర్థమైంది. ఎవరు ఈజీగా ఒకసారి చూడని గ్రాస్ లేక గ్రాఫ్ ఒకరు 10 సార్లు చూసినా తప్పులు రాస్తారు. దాన్ని బట్టి ఎవరికి సూట్ అయిన లెర్నింగ్ స్ట్రాటజీ వాళ్ళకి అప్లై చేయాలి. అఫ్ కోర్స్ దట్ మే నాట్ బి 100% possible in the higher education institution because we will be rushing up with the syllabus completions and all because the schedule will be running after us. So that may not be ideal, but to ensure the highest quality, the reasonable quality, we need to look for all such kind of various alternatives to address the needs of heterogeneous group. We need to identify that, especially for the management and just posing some point. To identify that, we need to have sufficient manpower. For teachers, we should not come with 3-4 subjects. Yes. If you do only 2 subjects, you will have some leisure time. You can work in such a way. If required, you can have 2 classes. If required, you can pay personal attention. If burden is less. For that only, buffer staff is required in every department, the big departments especially. In the laboratory also, 30 people will be doing their practicals. If you appoint only one technical person or one teacher, how this one teacher can cater to the needs of 30 students? By the time he solves the doubts of 1 or 2 students, 2 hours will be complete. In that case, 2-3 people, buffer team if you appoint, for every 5-6-10 students, 1 person will be helping. So that leads to better projection in terms of quality. So like that there are many issues, but time forces me to stop here. Thank you sir for giving me this opportunity. Thank you madam. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you sir. Wonderful speech. And you are in higher education, so whatever the suggestions is given to IPSC, definitely our college IPSC team and as well as principals and management will apply in education. And now the resource person is felicitated by our beloved principal E. Vadaprasad Garu and IPSC coordinator and other faculty members. So, resource person sir, please come out to the dais.
and share some of my experiences with reference to these innovations and best practices in higher education. Now there is a tagline there, because tagline is one of the things that are there in trending now. For every movie, the title follows with a tagline. So I just wanted to have a tagline for this topic, that is innovations and best practices in higher education. Can colleges really change? Can colleges or higher education institutions really change? Now, before I go into the innovations and best practices in higher education, first let us define what is innovation. See, this term innovation deals with, it is having greater emphasis with reference to advertisement or maybe in speeches of different resource persons on different ads. They speak about this term innovation. But what exactly is innovation? See, actual innovation takes place only when there is some type of newness, when there is something new and something where you are experimenting with. Now, even when organizations are not necessarily doing anything groundbreaking, even if an organization is not doing anything groundbreaking or not doing anything new, still they can say that we are innovating. Why they are innovating? Because they are not changed. That is the innovation. They are not changed. So even that becomes what is called as innovation. But when we talk about innovation, innovation means changing the DNA of the higher education from inside out. Now if there are any students of biology, they will be knowing what is the importance of DNA. Whatever the physical features, whatever the characters we have, it's all because of the DNA that is there in the cells. That is coming as a hereditary thing. So when once if you need to have an innovation, you need to change completely. If you need to change your physical features, if you need to change your characters, automatically you need to change your DNA. So even in case of higher education institutions, if you talk about innovation, if you want to have this change, now it should be inside out. Completely there should be a change. Completely the DNA of the institutions should change. Will you please click that blue link? So anyway, when we talk about innovation, there are two different varieties of innovation. One is said to be the sustaining innovation. Sustaining innovation means changing the existing system. Changing the existing system or modifying the existing system is called as sustaining innovation. The second type of innovation is disruptive innovation. Disruptive innovation means the change doesn't exist. The change doesn't exist. You are bringing totally a new change. You are trying to bring a disruptive change or a sudden change. So, for example, you have different models of your mobile phones. Samsung is there, Oppo is there. Now, Oppo comes out with new models. Samsung comes out with new models. That is what we call as sustaining innovation. Already the system is there. Already there is a product. But over and above that particular product, you are adding new features. You are adding new features. So the system gets changed. The product gets changed. That is what we mean by sustaining innovation. Whereas disruptive innovation. See, one of the examples what I could cite for disruptive innovation is like your desktops, computers. So previously we used to have what is called as machines which are used only for calculation. More than that, the machines do not do anything more. Or that led to another change which is called as mainframe computers. I don't know, how many of these young ones know the size of the computer when it was first invented. The size of the computer is almost if you have one single computer, it will occupy at least 1/4 of this particular hall. Then there is a disruptive innovation of having this particular present-day modern computers. Now the modern computer has come to the palm size. You have palm-held computers also. So it is a disruptive change, a sudden change, a new product. So likewise, even when we talk about the innovation in higher education, we have these two different types of innovations. One is the sustaining innovation and second is the disruptive innovation. Then coming to best practices. What do you mean by best practice? Best practice is not again a new thing. It's not a new thing. Best practice is a particular practice which had faced the testing waters, testing times. It has been tested. Supposing, say, if at all, if KBN College has one of the best practice, it means that KBN College experimented with that particular practice and then innovated that particular practice and established certain standards. But once that particular best practice is standardized, then it is not only for what is called as KBN College, but Loyola College could adopt that particular best practice. That's what we call as benchmarking. When we talk about this particular benchmarking, what is good? And how is that good good? What is the percentage of goodness? How is that particular good good? Based on that particular thing, you have a benchmarking. You have a benchmarking. Suppose if I say this is one of the best practice of X college. Now, if it has a good practice, how good is that particular best practice becomes a benchmark. So when we talk about these particular innovations and best practices, maybe we need to have an understanding of these two terms. Then why we need to innovate? Why we need to benchmark certain best practices? The reason is the changing climate of higher education. What is inevitable means change is said to be inevitable. You cannot stop change. You cannot keep yourself static without any change. Similarly, higher education ecosystem also keeps on changing. It keeps on changing. And as you have seen, the type of change that has crept in the last 6 months in the higher education sector. Entire world, the education system got disrupted because of the pandemic COVID-19. This may be bringing about certain innovations, certain best practices that will be practiced maybe for the years to come, even after the pandemic of COVID. I'll come to that particular thing later. Most of the students here, they might have experienced what is called as online teaching. Most of the faculty members would have tried with online teaching. Now that is, the best practices will be established. Best practices will be established. How to keep the students engaged. How to make the presence of that particular teacher felt by the students who are sitting at their home. So a type of best practice could be evolved from that particular change. And similarly, in the higher education system, all of you might be knowing about the National Education Policy 2020, which has been rolled out by the Ministry of Human Resource Development, Government of India. What was there previously? There is almost a dramatic change. There is a dramatic change in the entire higher education system. When changes in higher education ecosystem are taking place, automatically we need to innovate new things. We need to innovate new things either as a disruptive innovation or it could be a sustaining innovation. But you cannot simply stand there without any change. So there is a lot of change that is taking place in the higher education system. As I have just quoted only 2 examples. One is the COVID pandemic and second is the National Education Policy. Then the changing traditions and traditional student. Student means coming to college, sitting in the classroom for 6 hours or 7 hours in a day, maybe for 36 hours in a week. Then after some time goes and writes the examination. And after 3 years of study, they'll get their degree. This is the traditional setup of the student life. But now, the student is exposed to varieties of information. The student needs to adapt to the changing environment and be ready for the world of work. If you simply get a BA, BSc or BCom degree, that doesn't suffice. That doesn't suffice. Maybe when I have done my BA in BSc, maybe way back in 1988, I have completed my degree. Immediately I went for post-graduation. But now that is not the situation. That's not the situation. Even after your degree, you are going to have placements. And students are not interested in doing their higher studies. They are interested more in getting an employment. And even MNCs, multinational companies, are trying to recruit students from degree companies. Even be it the IT companies. Previously, maybe 5 years back, 6 years back, or maybe in the past decade, these IT companies started recruiting only the engineering graduates. But now, if you compare the statistics, 60% of the workforce at the entry level are from degree colleges, not from the professional engineering colleges. I'm not saying that professional engineering graduates are not being recruited. They are being recruited, but at the same time, these undergraduate conventional programs, the students completing those particular programs are also being recruited in large numbers. So even there is a change in the traditional student itself. Student is exposed to the entire world. If you have your smartphone with, your mobile connection, maybe your internet, mobile internet. Now the world is there in your hand. The world is there in your hand. Even students become much more clever. I don't know about the students sitting here, but supposing if I start teaching about a particular topic, they start Googling the same topic. They do that. They do that. And then get the information before what the speaker speaks or the lecturer delivers the lecture and starts questioning the lecturer. So lecturers are being changed because of the change in the traditional mindset of the students. Then the business of higher education. Many may not like when I say higher education is a business. Many may not like that if I say higher education is also a business. But still, I stick on to my words. Business or education, higher education is also a business. I'm not talking only about the profit-making business. See, in a business, maybe if there are some commerce graduates here, or Nagaraj is here, he'll be talking about business more. Now, what is business? Business means not only making profit. You have a customer. You have a customer. You need to deliver or satisfy the needs of the customer. So, higher education also is a business where I have a lot of customers. Who are my customers? My students are my customers. My students are my customers. So, I need to cater to the diverse needs of the student. And second thing is, in a business, you need to have an infrastructure. If you are doing a business, you need to have some infrastructure. Whether it is a marketing business or service-oriented business or services or maybe products, manufacturing, whatever it might be. But still, every business needs an infrastructure. Similarly, here also we have the infrastructure in terms of your college, classrooms, or your laboratories, your computers, your other labs, etc., etc., etc. The third is the financial aspect. The financial aspect, where costs are involved, where costs are involved. So, when I say that higher education is a business, I mean all these things. You need to cater to the diverse needs of the students or the stakeholders. You need to have a better and best infrastructure that is possible. And you need to bear up that particular cost. Hence, higher education is a business. Now, when you need to be a successful businessman, if you are a successful businesswoman, now what does it mean? When do you be called a successful businessman or only when you are having the best product given to the customers. When I have the best education system and deliver this particular education system to the stakeholders or to the main stakeholders, that is the students or my customers, then only I will be a successful businessman. When you are talking about delivering what is called as the best possible product, again comes your sustaining innovation or your disruptive innovation. I cannot simply have a product which is 10 years old. I cannot have a curriculum that is 10 years old. Or I cannot have a teaching methodology which is 20 years old or 30 years old. I cannot have an infrastructure that is there 2 decades back. There should be some innovation. There should be some type of experimentation. There should be some type of innovation or change in the existing system, or even change or bringing about a new system altogether. 5 years back, maybe in 2015, the AP State Council of Higher Education had rolled out its choice-based grading system. 5 years back, nobody had any idea of what the choice-based grading system, what are grades, and there is no semester system either. So, after being 5 years back, the choice-based grade system had come into place. And now, there is a redesigning of the existing choice-based curriculum after 5 years. That is in 2020. For the batch of students who are going to be admitted in 2020-21, they are going to have a different type of what is called as curriculum, what you might not have studied. Maybe you had the foundation courses, but now the present entry-level batch, they don't have foundation courses. They have life skill courses. You have not studied about skill development courses. They are going to study skill development courses. They are going to have 2 months of community development program. They are going to have 1 full semester of internship or on-the-job training, whatever you call it. And for you, the degree is 3 years. But for the batch of students who are going to be admitted in 2021, they will be admitted for 4-year program. And they can have an exit after 3 years. So a lot of change is coming into picture. Lot of change is coming into picture. So when once I say a business model, now I need to change the product. I need to change the curriculum. I need to change the product. I need to change the curriculum. I need to introduce new courses of study. I need to introduce new programs of study. Catering the redesigned skill framework for the students. If I simply teach what I was, what I taught maybe 25 years back for a zoology student becomes obsolete now. I need to change the product and then be a successful businessman. Next please. You can do it. Now there is a small video, maybe for 2-3 minutes I will play that video that gives the definition of innovation.
If you're reaching me out, I hear this all the time, especially from CFOs. It makes me laugh every time. CFO, what's your priority? Efficiency and innovation. Good luck with that. Innovation is not efficient. Innovation is trial and error. Innovation is experimentation.
Yes,
innovation is testing. Innovation is doing something that failed.
Just start it sticking with it. That's more important.
Because we can see the light. I hear this all the time, especially from CFOs. It makes me laugh every time. CFO, what's your priority? Efficiency and innovation. Good luck with that. Innovation is not efficient. Innovation is trial and error. Innovation is experimentation. Innovation is testing. Innovation is doing something that failed, and sticking with it. Because we can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and And we're not just going to walk away from this, even though it failed the first 2 or 3 times. Seinfeld was a disaster with terribly low ratings when it first came out, and thank goodness they weren't making the decisions based on the numbers, they were making the decisions based on what they felt was good television. And when we believe in something desperately, then the worst that we can do is cut people up who have intense passion for something. If somebody has unbelievable passion for something that they want, that they think can change, help the firm, or change the industry, change the profession, why would we stand in their way? Why would we say, I want you to do this? Then they're going to go into whatever we're telling them to do like this. With malaise. When they have passion for something and they fall, they'll fix it because they have passion for it. Never ever restrain someone with passion. And just accept the fact that innovation, if you want to be, and by the way, you don't have to be innovative. There's nothing wrong with not being innovative.
So the starting statement of that particular CEO says this. If you ask, what are your priorities for any CEOs, any company's chief executive officer? They say efficiency and innovation. But efficiency is not innovation, that's what he says. Efficiency is not innovation. Being efficient is not innovation. Innovation means experimentation. You need to go on experimenting with the product, with the system. And what is much more required and what he stresses more is that that particular change, what you are trying to do, should be done with a passion. Should be done with a passion. So unless you have a passion for change, you cannot innovate. If you don't have a passion, it's not like, it doesn't lead to what is called as innovation. But innovation doesn't mean efficiency. You might be an efficient person, but if you don't innovate, you will become obsolete. You become obsolete. So that is the importance of this particular innovation. Now, I just browse about 4 different areas. I have selected 4 different areas where you could innovate. One is curriculum. Second is with the teaching learning process or the pedagogy. Third is with assessment, and fourth is community engagement. Next, please. Next. Now, what is this particular curriculum? How do you innovate the curriculum? My learned colleagues will say that, see, I am an affiliated college. I am in an affiliated college. Now, in an affiliated college, the curriculum is designed by the university and we simply follow the curriculum. Now, how to innovate in the curriculum? That's the main question. Second thing is, maybe like KVL College, Autonomous College, which designs and devises its own programs of study. It will develop its own syllabus, its own curriculum will be designed. But even in an individual department level, you can go for change of that particular curriculum. Go one better than prescribed curriculum. Curriculum may say that these are the number of courses. Can we offer a little more number of courses than that is prescribed by the curriculum? Go beyond the curriculum. Go beyond the curriculum. Innovate with the curriculum. If you have, say, 6 papers, which we call as courses, why don't you have the 7th paper or 7th course, which could be a self-paced course, or it could be even a self-learning course, where a student can learn on herself or himself. Need not be taught. Everything need not be taught between the 4 walls of the classroom. You can devise your own syllabus, you can define your own course, which goes beyond the curriculum, so that the students will be at what is called as at a higher level. If I devise a course, maybe in case of, say, in what is called as BBA program, in a BBA program or in BCom, usually you have the accountancy papers in BCom, and then you will have some marketing papers, etc., etc. Or maybe in BBA program you will have business administration papers. But all sectors of business administration, all sectors of management and commerce cannot be included in the 6 papers. Now, what is right now important? There is another area called service marketing. Now, give that particular course syllabus in such a way that the student gets a chance to learn by himself or herself about service marketing. and acquires a new, what is called as a new certification. A new certificate. There are umpteen number of courses. There are umpteen number of courses which are available online. Thanks to COVID again. Not only the students, even faculty members, most of us, we are not aware of the different type of online courses freely available. You can sit here in Vijayawada and then do a course offered by Stanford University, or maybe MIT, or maybe any other university that is located maybe elsewhere across the globe. So, I mean to say that the curriculum should not be a closed jacket. It should not be a closed thing. The curriculum, whatever we are doing, should be innovated in such a way that the curriculum becomes open. It's not that I need to teach only 6 papers. I need to teach only 4 courses. No. You can open it up to the entire world and give a chance to the student to learn on herself or maybe on himself. Okay, so that there comes this, how different you are from others. Now, what is the difference between studying in KVN college or maybe studying in some other college here? Maybe nearby you have Sarda college or you have Loyola college. Now, how different you are from others? How different you are from a passed out graduate of Loyola college? So, the students need to question themselves, how different I am from others? Even maybe the college may be offering a particular curriculum, but go beyond the curriculum. Open yourself. Open yourself and do what are called as the massive open online courses, MOOCs. Further, you need not have what is called as the permission of the college. You can do on your own, but most of the students, they enjoy themselves. They try to use their free time, maybe going through the different type of WhatsApp groups, messages, YouTube, all these things. Instead of that, if you are able to do an online course, you are gaining knowledge. Maybe you may not get a certificate because there are certain online courses where you need to pay if you want to get a certificate. But there are several, there is no limit. Umpteen number of online courses are available. Only the sky is the limit for you. So why not we try that way? Why not we try and open up our curriculum and then be innovative and acquire new knowledge, enter into new domains, acquire new knowledge and acquire new skills. That's how you will be different from others. When you go to an interview, everybody comes with an undergraduate degree, maybe BA, BSc, BCom or MA, MSc, MCom. Now when all the students, candidates entering an interview have the same qualification, how different you are from others? Why you need to be selected? Why you need to be selected? So this is one of the things which is necessary not only for the faculty members to open up the curriculum as well as it is equally important for the students as well. Then comes a different type of curriculum or the entire what is called as structure, educational structure, which is called as competency-based education. Next slide. See, your competency-based education is nothing new. Maybe the term may sound new to us, but it is something like your OBE, outcome-based education. Again, 2 years back onwards, there is a lot of discussion going on in academic circles about this outcome-based education. Learning outcomes. And how these learning outcomes are to be measured. Now, everybody, whenever, even in an autonomous college, if you are going for NAC, assessment and accreditation, again you are asked, what are your learning outcomes? What are your course outcomes? What are your program outcomes? What are your program educational outcomes? So, different type of outcomes are there. Now, how these particular outcomes are being measured? That's outcome-based education, and the competency-based education is also somewhat similar to that of outcome-based education. After doing BSc Botany, after doing your BA History, what is that you have learned? What is the outcome? Is to be measured, So unless and until the course outcomes are given by studying this particular paper, maybe in zoology, since I belong to zoology, I quote more examples from zoology. After studying a course in aquaculture, the outcome, I am writing the outcome now itself, before deciding the course itself, before finalizing the syllabus itself, I am writing the outcome. After studying this particular course in aquaculture, maybe the student should be able to get a job in aquaculture industry. Maybe in prawn farming, maybe in fish farming, maybe in a hatchery, maybe in a feed processing, or maybe in a processing industry. Something like that. I keep the outcome, write the outcomes, and then try to achieve those particular outcomes by the end of the course. Similarly, here also the same thing. You need to identify the competencies. Next slide, please. You need to identify the competencies and look into whether that particular competency has been achieved or not, whether the competency has been achieved or not. So, it's a personalized learning approach. What happens? A student joins in a particular program, BA 3 years. Then after 3 years, he or she will get the degree and then walk off. This is not competency based learning. By studying this particular 3 years of BA, what is that particular competence you have to learn? What are the skill sets that you have acquired? Not all students acquire the same skill set. Not all students will have the same competencies. So, it is, you are being tested for the competence. And after the first semester is over, automatically you will be transferred for the second semester. Automatically, if you get 40%, you will be promoted for the second year or to the third semester. Automatically, you are being passed from one semester to the other semester by just getting a pass mark. Who is bothered about the competency of the student? Whether the student had got that particular competency or not. Whether that particular skill set has been driven into the what is called as the mind of the student. Nobody bothers. As a controller or as a deputy controller of examinations of Loyola College, I am bothered only about conducting the examination and giving out the result. And at the end of the day, the principal is bothered about what is the pass percentage. Whether it is 80% or 85% or 90%. Pass percentage. Though you get 80% or you get 40%, you are said to be passed. You have passed that particular group. So, we are looking only at pass percentages rather than what is the percentage of competencies been acquired with that particular student. So, we need to innovate in this particular plan. Maybe the entire educational system should turn around this competency-based education. When once it is practiced, when once you acquire these competencies, you will be a competent person for the type of work that you are going to take. You will be said to be competent to do a particular job. If you are doing your BSc Computer Science, if you are coming out as a programmer, almost all, there will be a lack of students, lack means not LACK, LAKH, 1 lakh of students, or 10 million students coming out of with computer science degrees. Now, how many of these 10 million students have competency to write a program? Whether the educational system or the examination system is trying to find out whether that particular competency is given to the student or not. Student is not being assessed for the competence, for the skill. Student is being assessed, maybe if I have a DBMS paper, if I get 35 or 40% in that particular paper, 40 marks, I am said to be passing that particular paper or course. That's all. But whether the required skill did I get, am I competent to do that? No. So maybe we need to think about this particular, what is called as competency-based education. Then coming to the pedagogy. See, 90% of classes are doing the traditional, time-tested, very good type of methodology that's called as chalk and talk method. I'm not saying that chalk and talk method is not proper or it has lost its charm. No, I am not saying that. At least 60% of the syllabus has to be taught only through chalk and talk method. I need to use a blackboard and then I need to write on the blackboard, start explaining the different concepts. But there is what is called as supplementary to that particular chalk and talk method. You need to have a different type of methodology being crept into the entire education system. The pedagogical innovations are said to be the main pillars of what is called as the higher education ecosystem. If the ecosystem has to be a perfect ecosystem, there should be some pillars. And the main pillars for sustainable higher education ecosystem is pedagogy. And there is what is called as going beyond this particular chalk and talk method. There will be different types of methodologies like what we have experienced during this particular COVID pandemic. Your online teaching methodology, online pedagogy, e-learning, e-classrooms. There are several words which describe that particular process. So that itself is a pedagogical innovation. As I said, tomorrow 60 or 70% of the syllabus will be taught while you are at home. That is going to be the new trend. And there is what is called as the pedagogy, whatever we do, whether it is online pedagogy or offline pedagogy, whether it is chalk and talk method or whether it is experiential learning, whether it is collaborative learning, whether it is project-based learning, these are all different methodologies. Whatever be the methodology, it should be an integrated pedagogical paradigm where you need to have the context. When I am learning something, what is the context in which I am learning? What is the context in which I am learning? See, there is what is called as, if you take again computers, the computer languages are fast changing. Supposing say, if I now say the latest technology, maybe Java Beans, you will say. Java Beans was not there. Because Java Beans should be taught in this context. Now, this particular software is more necessary because technology has changed. What is the context of this particular industry now? When you are talking about Industrial Revolution 4.0, so what is the industry is looking for? It is looking forward for artificial intelligence, for machine learning. So, the context or the environment is changing. So, as the context changes, the curriculum, pedagogical tool should also change. Then, there should be an experience. Experience in the sense, practicality should be there. Whether it is a theory-based paper, even if you are taught what is called as history, you are taught about, say, modern European history, even that particular paper should be in such a way that practicality should be there. The student should be able to experience the medieval history or maybe the ancient history. That experience should be there. So how the experience will come? You cannot go back. It's not like Aditya 369, old movie of Balakrishna. Getting into a time machine and going there, experiencing and coming back. Seeing Sri Krishnadevaraya's Darbar and coming back to the present. No. Using a particular pedagogical tool, I should be able to make the students experience. Then reflection. Reflection means it will go around only about 3 questions. I tell my students also. Every student should ask 3 questions. Enduku, Emiti, Ela. If you are asking these 3 questions, Enduku, Emiti, Ela. That's what is reflection. You are reflecting why this is to be studied, how it has to be studied, when it has to be studied, when it has to be applied. What is the knowledge I should be able to get? So, Enduku, Emiti, Ela. ఈ మూడు ప్రశ్నలు every student has to pose, should reflect upon, and there should be an action. That is what is called as synthesis and then your analysis. You are putting into practice. Action means putting into practice. You have gained some knowledge. Using that particular knowledge, what you are going to do? What is the action that should come out of this particular reflection? After gaining knowledge, you are reflecting. And after reflecting, it should turn into an action. It should turn into an action. Maybe a student of BCom, after doing, say, tally, it should reflect into an action. He should know what he has learned, how he has learned, and when he has to apply all these things he has learned, and now he has to put it into action. That is, he should be able to go and then practice with an enterprise or with an establishment or simple shop. Put those particular accounts into tally and practice. That's what is called as action. And finally comes evaluation. But for us, we only are bothered about evaluation. Whether I will get 60% or not, whether I will get 70% or not, whether I will get 80% or not. Educational administration is looking about the pass percentages. And student is bothered about his own percentage of marks. Whether I will get 60% or 70% or 80%. I tell you, any faculty member of your class, if you go to the faculty member and ask what are the important questions that are to be studied and probability of getting those particular questions in examinations, they will give you some 5-6 questions they will give you. Not more than that. Not more than that. For every course, for every paper. You will get, definitely you will get 60 or 70%. Getting percentage is not important. What is important is your action. How you are putting that particular knowledge into practice is your action. Then only comes about evaluation. But every one of us, including me, every one of us are looking only for evaluation rather than the pedagogical process. Rather than the pedagogical process. Next. So, one of the pedagogy that is going to be an innovative pedagogy is online teaching. That's a situation. That's a situation. Supposing, say, if I would have opted, I could have sat in my drawing room using my own laptop. I could be speaking right from my home to you. Even the same thing has been experienced. Maybe the outbound students or maybe the present 5 years would have experienced this online teaching. We don't know to whom we are speaking. We don't know whom we are speaking. We don't know whether what the student is doing. At least here I see whether you are listening or not. But I don't know what is happening. Next slide, please. I'm just speaking to computers. I'm just speaking to mobile phones. I'm just speaking to laptops. There are several challenges. There are several challenges being faced. I don't know whether the student is sleeping or whether the student is just switching on the mobile and then doing her or his work. But I will be continuing with my lecture, my online lecture. I don't know what we are doing. Same way even I too did during this particular COVID situation. If I am called for a meeting, if I am supposed to be, listen, what I do is, I will switch on the desktop, I will switch on I will mute the microphone, I will mute the video and simply do my own business. Well, that's all. Even I have done that. When a faculty member does it, why not a student? So we don't know. We don't know. Even in a real classroom situation also, I tell to my students, దేవుడు మీకు ఒక మంచి గొప్ప వరం ఇచ్చాడు. అదే ఒక టీచర్కి సార్, స్టూడెంట్స్కి గొప్ప వరం ఏమిటి? ఫ్యాకల్టీకి అది శాపంగా మారుతుంది. ఏమిటి? ఇక్కడ చాలా మంది స్టూడెంట్స్ కనబడుతున్నారు. ఐ థింక్ ది ఎంటైర్ రో ఈస్ ఆక్యుపైడ్ బై స్టూడెంట్స్. ఏదో నేనేమైనా ఫీల్ అవుతానేమో అనేది మీ వైస్ ప్రిన్సిపల్ గారు వచ్చి కూర్చున్నారు. ఏమిటి మీకున్న గొప్ప వరం ఏమిటి? దేవుడు మీకు భగవంతుడు మీకు ఇచ్చినటువంటి గొప్ప వరం ఏంటి? మాకు అది శాపం. Supposing say, if a student is sleeping in the class, ఎవరైనా నిద్రపోతున్నారు అనుకోండి, immediately I know, because you cannot sleep without closing your eyes. చూస్తున్నప్పుడు మీరు ఎవరైనా నిద్రపోతున్నారు అనుకోండి, కూర్చొని కురిపాట్లు పడుతున్నారు, కళ్ళు మూసుకొని కురిపాట్లు పడుతున్నారు, నాకు తెలుస్తారు. నేను వెంటనే లేపుతా, వై ఆర్ యు స్లీపింగ్ ఇన్ ద క్లాస్, ఎందుకు, ఏమిటి అని ఏదో ప్రశ్నించి ఏదో ఒకటి చేసి ఏదో ఒక యాక్షన్ ఉంటుంది. కానీ దేవుడు మీకు ఇచ్చినటువంటి గొప్ప వరం ఏమిటంటే, మీరు వినకపోయినా కానీ చాలా మంది మీకు ఇప్పుడు నేను చెప్పింది అర్థం అవ్వకపోవచ్చు, ఇంట్రెస్ట్ ఉండకపోవచ్చు. ఏమంటా ఇన్నోవేషన్ ఏమిటి, హైయర్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఇన్నోవేషన్ మాకేంటి సంబంధము అని మీరు అనుకోవచ్చు. మీరు వింటలేదు. మీరు వినకపోతే మీ చెవులు వెంటనే ఇలాగా ముడిచిపోయినాయి. దెన్ ఐ విల్ ఏబుల్ టు నో మీరు వింటలేదు అని. మీరందరూ చక్కగా నా వైపే చూస్తున్నారు, కానీ ఎప్పుడు వదులుతారు? లంచ్కి వెళ్ళాలి, టైం అయ్యింది, ఇంటికి పోయేటప్పటికి ఏమి కూర ఉంటుంటుందో అమ్మాయి ఇవాళ నాన్ వెజిటేరియన్ ఉండదు శనివారం కాబట్టి, రేపేమి తింటారు, సాయంత్రం ఎక్కడికి వెళ్ళాలి, ఎవరితో వాట్సాప్లో డిస్కషన్ పెట్టుకోవాలి, ఇవన్నీ ఆలోచించుకుంటూ ఉంటారు. చూడడానికి మాత్రం చాలా సిన్సియర్గా వింటున్నట్టుగా నా వైపే చూస్తున్నారు. అటువైపు ఇటువైపు కూడా తల తిప్పకోకుండా డైరెక్ట్ వేరే వైపు కూడా చూడట్లేదు, డైరెక్ట్గా నా వైపే చూస్తున్నారు. కానీ మీరు వింటలేదు, నాకు తెలియదు. నేను మీ ఎంతో బాగా నవీన్ కూడా కూర్చొని వింటున్నాడు అని అనుకుంటున్నారా? లేదు, నవీన్ ఆలోచిస్తున్నాడు. మధ్యాహ్నం ఏం చేయాలి, అటెండెన్స్ ఎట్లా ఉంది, ఈ క్లాస్కి ఎట్లా చేయాలి, అడ్జస్ట్ చేయాలి, పలానా లెక్చరర్ రాలేదు, వీళ్ళకేం చేయాలి అనేది ఆయన ఆలోచిస్తున్నాడు. ఐ డోంట్ నో, బట్ చూడటానికి మాత్రం ఈజ్ వెరీ అటెంటివ్ అండ్ దెన్ ఈజ్ ఫోకసింగ్ హిస్ ఎంటైర్ కాన్సన్ట్రేషన్ ఆన్ మీ. ఆఫ్లైన్లో ఫిజికల్ క్లాస్ రూమ్లోనే పరిస్థితి ఇట్లా ఉంటే మరి ఆన్లైన్లో ఎలా ఉంటుంది? ఆన్లైన్లో ఎలా ఉంటుంది ఆలోచించి. 90% of students will not take online classes seriously, but that is going to be the order of the day. That is going to be the order. There should be what is called as the role of the teacher using online pedagogy tool should be different. What we talked about is social presence. Social presence means the student should be able to feel the presence of the faculty. Student should feel the presence of the faculty. That the faculty member is present. Now, how to showcase the presence of the faculty? ఊరికి నేను ఏదో క్లాస్ చెప్పుకుంటా పోతా ఉంటాం అనుకోండి, దానివల్ల స్టూడెంట్స్ ఉన్నారా లేదా తెలియదు, ఫ్యాకల్టీ యొక్క ప్రెసెన్స్ దే మే నాట్ ఫీల్, స్టూడెంట్స్ మే నాట్ ఫీల్. సో దేర్ ఆర్ సర్టెన్ టూల్స్, దేర్ ఆర్ సర్టెన్ ఆన్లైన్ టూల్స్ లైక్ కండక్టింగ్ ఏ క్విజ్, కండక్టింగ్ ద ఒపీనియన్, మేబీ వాట్స్ కాల్డ్ as fish bowl technique అని అంటారు. మేకింగ్ ద స్టూడెంట్స్ డూ సమ్ వర్క్, డిస్కషన్ ఫోరమ్స్ అని అంటారు. Even in learning management system, even in your Google Classroom, you have discussion. So such type of polls or quizzes, all these are different type of tools that are to be employed by the teacher, so that the teacher's presence is felt and the students get engaged. The students get engaged. Even in a classroom situation also it is workable. So we call it as what is called as the student engagement and the presence of the faculty member, social presence. There should be an effective association between the teacher and the taught. If at all you have any type of problem, that should be taken care by the faculty, by the teacher who is teaching that particular online course. So there should be an effective association. There should be an effect, not effect. There should be an effect. So the teacher should be able to relate himself or herself with the students and give a particular feeling that the students are getting engaged in the entire class for 45 minutes or 50 minutes, whatever it may. But we don't usually go into that particular. Now it is a time for us to innovate. What are all the tools that are available to keep the students engaged in an online class? And what are all the tools experimented for making the faculty member be present in an online class. And best practice. Even I don't know how many of you will not be students, maybe faculty members, how many of you will often visit the website of State Council of Higher Education, which is the next one. Immediately after COVID, we have published and then we posted it on our website about the resurgence planning, about how to have the resilience. Resurgence means we are in a pandemic, then how to come over from that particular pandemic. And when you are starting the college, you are starting the college, what are all the guidelines that are to be followed? What are the standard operating procedures? So there is a booklet on resurgence planning post-COVID-19. And maybe in a few days, you'll have an online teaching toolkit. There, we have discussed about how to keep the students engaged, how to use what are known as different types of Kahoot, or maybe use Quizlet, or maybe use Padlet. These are all different types of freely available tools which the students as well as faculty can go through. So we are picking out the best practices and then we are trying to disseminate that particular knowledge. This is what is to be done. Next. Just click on that link. I want every of the faculty member to go through this particular publication of UGC. It's not my own. It's not my own. This is Evaluation Reforms in Higher Educational Institutions. It's a publication of University Grants Commission. All faculty members need to go through this particular, what is called as guidelines. Or this is a publication of University Grants Commission, where they speak about the evaluation reforms that have to be put, evaluation innovations that have to be brought into the education system. And similarly, maybe in months' time, maybe for the new year, we will also be coming out with a toolkit on evaluation reforms. It's not simply a guidelines, or we don't discuss much. It is a toolkit. Toolkit means you have a spanner, you have a wrench, you have a screwdriver, which will be utilized. So we are going to bring about this particular evaluation reforms, which is the assessment part is the most neglected part in what is called as entire educational system. You have what is called curriculum. Yes, we have changed the curriculum. We have introduced the CBCS. We have revised the CBCS. We are introducing 4-year degree program. We are introducing 5-year integrated PG program. We are introducing 1-year PG program. By the time the first years go back to the universities, no university will have 2-year PG program. All universities will have only 1-year PG program. And all students are going to be getting admitted into BA, BSc, become honors degree. It is left to the discretion of the student. He can quit after 3 years with a pass degree. BA. If you do the 4th year, you will get honors degree. Lot of changes are taking place in the curriculum. Syllabus is being modified. Obsolete units, obsolete concepts are being removed. New concepts are being introduced. Something is being done with reference to the drastic changes or disruptive curriculum is going to be brought in. But what is left over is the assessment part, evaluation part is being left. So, AP State Council of Higher Education is keenly looking into this particular evaluation reforms. It's not just having a continuous internal assessment, means for first mid-semester examinations, I'll give you 5 questions, you need to write 2 questions, written examination. Second one, same. I'm not talking about KVN college, I'm talking about Loyola college. What I'm doing is this. For you, there is internal assessment. For us also, there is an internal assessment. Only thing is, the difference is in the percentage of marks. For me, internal assessment is 50%, end semester will be for 50%. So what I do, I conduct mid-semester examination. First, 5 questions, 2 questions you have to write. second mid, again 5 questions, 2 questions you have to make. I give the third option also to the student who missed it, first mid or second mid, the remit examination. So what is the type of examination we are doing? Again, I give question paper, you write the questions, that's all. We don't go beyond that. We don't go beyond that. And no autonomous college is experimenting with different type of examination tools. We'll come back. Maybe Naveen, maybe you need to read this particular publication of UGC. Because this is where we can say that how KVN college is different from other colleges. What type of innovative assessment we are doing. So I have listed out. Written mode also, it is not just writing question and answers. Even in written mode, we have almost 17 different varieties of written mode assessment tools are available. Not only written mode, there are other ways of assessing the student. So, this is one of the most neglected area of the higher education system. Whether you talk about the undergraduate programs, postgraduate programs, or even MPhil or PhD also. PhD also we have to write 2 papers, pre-PhD examination. What is that? Is going to be examined. Again, question paper, you have to write the answers. But beyond that, there are several other ways of doing this particular assessment. I am not going to list out because not many will be interested in this assessment. But still, every faculty member should be able to give this particular, look into this particular assessment. Should be able to experiment with the different type of assessments. So, maybe the college also, autonomous colleges also, should give autonomy to the faculty members. But only the case, we don't have confidence on ourselves. I'm not talking about one college. This is the situation in all colleges. Or to be very specific, okay, in Loyola College, if you ask me now, maybe if you would have asked me earlier when I am with Loyola College, maybe last year, what I will do as an administrator, I will say, Deputy Controller of Examination will not vote for giving autonomy for the faculty member to conduct the mid-semester exam. Because I don't have confidence on my own faculty member. Not only on other faculty member, I don't have confidence on me. Examination conduct చేయకోకుండా ఊరికనే మార్కులు వేసేసి ఎగ్జామినేషన్ కంట్రోలర్కి సబ్మిట్ చేస్తారేమో. ఈ క్విజ్లు ఎవరు కండక్ట్ చేస్తారు, మాక్ టెస్ట్ ఎవరు చేస్తారు, ఇది ఎవరు చేస్తారు, అది ఎవరు చేస్తారు. సింపుల్గా 20 మార్కులకి మినిమం 15 మార్కులు, మాక్సిమం 20 మార్కులు, మధ్యలో 15-20 మధ్యలో అందరికీ వస్తుంది. I don't know whether you have this particular assignment. 20 marks for first mid, 20 marks for second mid, 5 marks for attendance. Attendance coming, sitting in the class, warming up the bench. I give 5 marks. వినండి, వినకపోతే ఏమి చేయాలో వచ్చి బెంచ్ మీద కూర్చుంటే చాలు, 5 మార్కులు వచ్చేస్తాయి. వరప్రసాద్ గారు చూస్తారు, ఇక్కడ నుంచి మా వాళ్ళందరూ 5 మార్కులు కాదు అటు వెళ్ళిపోతారు ఎవరని. 5 marks is for assignment. When I look, me as a teacher, I give 4 marks. ఎందుకని ఆ స్టూడెంట్ ఏమలే పాపం అనే దాంట్లో ప్రతి వాళ్ళకి 4. రాని వాళ్ళకు కూడా అత్యంత ఏమంటారు హ్యూమనిటేరియన్ కన్సిడరేషన్ లో అసైన్మెంట్ సబ్మిట్ చేయకపోయినా కానీ 2 మార్కులు వేస్తారు. దిస్ వాట్ ఐ డు. లేట్ సబ్మిషన్ అంటే ఒక పర్టికులర్ డేట్ కి సబ్మిట్ చేయలేదు, వారం తర్వాత తీసుకొచ్చేస్తారు. సార్ నా బుక్లో బాగలేదు సార్, సార్ మా ఇంట్లో మా ముత్తాత గారు చనిపోయారు సార్, అందుకనే నేను అసైన్మెంట్ కరెక్ట్ టైంకి ఇవ్వలేదు సార్, నాకు ఆ రోజు తలకాయ నొప్పిగా ఉంది సార్, లాస్ట్ 2 రోజులు నేను రాలేదు సార్ కాలేజీ. 101 reasons the student will have. So I give, okay, ఇంకో 2 మార్కులు వేసేసి ఇది పంపి. So I don't have confidence on me that I will be able to rise to that particular level of conducting an assessment, a reliable assessment, But still, the administration should also think of giving some autonomy for the student, faculty member to experiment with different type of assessment tools. Only after studying this, only after interacting with high-level intellectuals, then my mindset also started changing. For the past 6 years, now my mindset is changed. Okay? So you will have that particular thing. And finally, last thing is, maybe I will conclude in another 5 minutes. Next slide, please. This is again not meant for, I mean, it's also meant for students, but it is for the administration. See, what is that? After getting graduated, what is that the student is going to be contributing to the society? Something the student needs to give back to the society. You are taking from the society. You need to give something back to the society. So what is that? The student gives back to the society. Whether it is your scholarships, whether it is your freeships, whether it is your Jagaranna Vidya Divana or Jagaranna Vasati Divana, whatever you call, or the management scholarships. Who is giving this? Is the Honorable Chief Minister giving from his pocket? Or management is giving some scholarships? From where the management is getting the money for giving scholarships? From where the government is getting the scholarships? It is from the society. It is from the society. I am paying my income tax, and then the same income tax is going back to the what is called as to the government, and government is spending that particular what is called as the income that is generated. So what is that you are giving back to the society? So community engagement, even at this stage, you need to do something for the society, and you will be knowing or learning what are the stark realities of the society. What are the stark realities of the society? So community building program should be incorporated into the degree program. So the revised choice-based credit system, every student between his first year and second year, between the second semester and third semester, they need to go for a community development program for 2 months. It's going to be made mandatory. If you are sitting in your own house, if you are having within your comfort zone, you don't know what is happening outside. So we need to get exposed to the stark realities of the society. So even the entire state of Andhra Pradesh is going to follow this community engagement. And the government also is going to set up community development board where it's a partnership between the community and the educational institutions. So that board will take care of what type of community engagement activities that are to be done. Previously also we used to have general. That's also a type of community engagement. So, like at least in Loyola College we have 2 different types of community programs. And they have credits, and a minimum pass mark also has to be, it's a mandatory for getting a degree program. One is, we call it as ALERT, Andhra Loyola Extension for Rural Transportation. Andhra Loyola Assistance for Neighborhood Development. ALERT and ALERT. Similarly, not only in, there are several colleges which have different type of programs. One particular program of St. Joseph's teaching, where Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam is an alumnus there in St. Joseph's teaching, where he is studying. There is a program called Shepherd program. And in most of these particular colleges in Tamil Nadu, they have this service learning department. So, we are going to have what is called as plan for a service learning program. It will be based on the community development strategies. So, each of these particular institutions, all higher education institutions, should innovate something about this community engagement. And those faculty members who are involved in an ACT assessment and accreditation. Third criteria, first criteria is curricular aspects. Second is teaching, learning and evaluation. Third is research, consultancy and extension. That's the importance given. Not just becoming NCC or NSS volunteers or NCC cadets. Apart from that, every student should be able to engage himself or herself with the community, where the strategies will be locality development. Locality development, it's a bottom-up approach. Kinda nunchi paiki raavadam. Society locality develop cheyali. Then social planning. You are planning at the top, and the fruits fruits of that particular planning will drop down. So top-down approach, social action, inside out. So we need to have a strategy for this community engagement, should be an innovative practice. And benchmarking the best practices that are there elsewhere. Finally, I conclude here. In conclusion, I would like to give a statement. Need to come out of the mindset. What is the mindset? Don't fix a problem that is not there. That should not be our mindset. We should come out of that particular mindset. Don't fix a problem that is not there. Loyola College andi, NIRF ranking 36th ranking andi, antakumundu 54 ranking andi. Mottamu both the Telugu speaking states lo 50 ఏళ్లలో మొదటిగా 2017 నుంచి 2020 వరకు ఉన్నటువంటి లోయోలా కాలేజ్ అనేది NAC 3.66 అవుట్ ఆఫ్ 4 అక్రిడిటేషన్, మాకు A++ గ్రేడ్ ఉందండి. అంత బాగానే జరుగుతుందండి. మాకు ఎందుకండి ఇన్నోవేషన్? మాకేం ప్రాబ్లం లేదు సార్. When there is no problem, why you are asking us to fix a problem? We don't have any problem. We don't have any problem. KBM college is also NAC accredited. CPA college. Then RUSA funding ఉంది. అన్నీ ఉన్నాయి. ఎందుకు సార్ మేము ఎందుకు సార్ ఇన్నోవేషన్? మాకు ఎందుకు సార్ బెస్ట్ ప్రాక్టీసెస్? మాకేం ప్రాబ్లం లేనప్పుడు మీరు వచ్చి ఇన్నోవేట్ చేయండి, అది చేయండి, ఇది చేయండి అని ఎందుకు సార్ మేము చేయనప్పుడు మాకు నాకు గ్రేట్ బాగానే ఉంది. ఈ రోజుకి అది ఉపయోగపడకపోవచ్చు. Your innovation may not lead to the fruitful existence of today. It is for the future. For the future. We don't know what the future is. What the future is. Supposing, say, if Loyola College would have opened up its mind maybe 1 year back, none of the college students would have faced, or the faculty would have faced any problems regarding online learning. Under RUSA funding, we bought our own learning management system like Google Classroom, online teaching. We said that at least 25% of the syllabus has to be taught online, which we call it as blended learning. 75% will be taught in the classroom, 25% will be taught online. But only thing is, administration, including the RUSA coordinator, also sleeps till the last minute. RUSA coordinator is only me, so I can comment anything on RUSA coordinator. We are sleeping, simply I am sleeping. Though the money was there, but we could not put it into what is called as action. Then came COVID. Then we realized what is the importance of this learning management system. So we don't know what the future is. Unless we innovate today, that innovation will not be helpful for the future. Don't fix a problem that is not there. That mindset we need to first remove. మేమంతా బాగానే ఉన్నాము. మేము ఒక కంఫర్ట్ జోన్లో ఉన్నాము. మాకు ఏదైనా వస్తే కోవిడ్ పాండమిక్ వస్తారని ఫిబ్రవరిలో మనం ఏమన్నా అనుకున్నామా? మార్చ్ 22nd, 23rd నుంచి లాక్డౌన్ అన్న మాట మనకి ఎవరికి తెలియదు. పాండమిక్ అన్న మాట ఇట్స్ the word which has been searched in Google for the maximum number of times. Maximum users, they searched for the word pandemic. Nobody knows. So, thinking of this, ఇట్లాంటి పాండమిక్ కానీ ఫ్యూచర్లో మళ్ళీ ఏదైనా వస్తే 10 years వస్తే కేబిఎన్ కాలేజ్ స్టూడెంట్స్ ఏ లెవెల్లో ఉన్నారు, ఏ రకంగా ఇటువంటి పాండమిక్ని కేబిఎన్ కాలేజ్ ఎట్లా వాటిని మీట్ అవ్వగలరు, how to face that particular difficulty, how to meet that particular challenge will be only through your innovation. Okay, so once again I thank Mr. Bharaprasad, Principal of KBM College, Dr. Naveen, Vice Principal, and the IKC Coordinator, Madam Bhavani, and also a young friend who had introduced me at a link. And then I thank one and all for your patient listening, and also I thank the students who have been sitting quietly, calmly, maybe whether they are listening or not, they have not disturbed me, neither they have disturbed me nor disturbed the other audience. So I am thankful for each one of you who are present. So thank you.
sir. Thank you very much for your valuable information regarding innovations and best practices in higher education. Now I would like to hand over the session to Dr. H. Narendra Kumar, Head of Department of English.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Kranti, sir. Honored guests, dignitaries, respected teachers and dear students, good afternoon and greetings to you all. I feel privileged to extend my warm welcome to the dignitaries and participants for this valedictory session of this two-day NAC-sponsored conference on impact of best practices in quality enhancement in higher educational institutions. Honored guests, dignitaries, respected teachers and students, greetings to you all and a very good afternoon. Let me honor the session by inviting the chief guests and dignitaries onto the dais. To begin with, I consider it a great honor to welcome the president of the session, our beloved principal, Sri E. Prasad sir. Sir, we invite you to grace the dais. Thank you, sir. I'm profusely overjoyed to take the opportunity to welcome our chief guest of the day, besides being a keynote speaker. He's none other than Sri Rangam Mathuga, academic officer, ABSHI, and senior faculty and being the head of the Department of Geology from Loyola College. Sir, we invite him to the dais. Let's greet him with a great applause. It's a great pleasure to invite the convener and coordinator of IQSE, Dr. Bharati Devagan, Head Department of MCA. Let's all welcome her. A great applause to thank you. Thank you very much. Now I request our dear principal sir to preside over the session. Thank you.
Respected chief guest of this valedictory session, my good friend, Sri Sri Rangam Garu, academic officer, Andhra Pradesh State Council of Higher Education, Dr. Bharati Devi, coordinator IQSE, participants online and offline from different parts of the country, my dear colleagues, learned friends, ladies and gentlemen. With higher education becoming an international service, there is a growing concern the world over about quality standards and recognition. This national conference highlights the initiative of the National Assessment and Accreditation Council, NAC, to promote the concept of best practices benchmarking. It also sets the stage for a discussion of identification, sustenance, dissemination, and adaptation of best practices and of their transference from one system to the other. Benchmarking, from the perspective discussed above, becomes relevant to higher education because of the external point of reference or standards it can provide to educational managers for evaluating the quality of the processes they manage. This approach is valuable for providing information to be used in the prioritization and decision-making process of the institutions. The University Education Report had set goals for development of higher education in the country. While articulating these goals, Ramakrishnan Commission on University Education 1948-49 put it in the following words: the most important and urgent reform needed in education is to transform it, to endeavor to relate it to the life, needs and aspirations of the people, and thereby make it the powerful instrument of social, economic and cultural transformation necessary for the realization of the national goals. For this purpose, education should be developed so as to increase productivity, achieve social and national integration, accelerate the process of modernization, and cultivate social groups of development and growing opportunities are available to all sections. A further challenge is to ensure that the foreign institutions coming to India also fit in with the developmental goals of our nation. Academic reform transformation of higher education requires specific strategies for academic reforms at the institutional level. Quality improvement in higher education has been initiated through restructuring academic programs to ensure their relevance to modern market demands. The quality of higher education system may seem from the point of view of norms and standards which may evolve developing on the need of the hour, and quality management practices become crucial. The quality of these components may also differ from institution to institution. Therefore, sharing of the experiences among institutions on quality issues may generate ideas for evolving norms and strategies for their quality assurance of management process, circular inputs and practices, and the evaluation system as well. I am sure that the deliberations made in this conference are being carried out in this two-day conference on the impact of best practices and quality enhancement in higher education institutions will have added considerably to the policy makers and all the stakeholders of future to improvise and evaluate the existing standards and enhance them from time to time. In this connection, I thank all the resource persons of the two-day national conference, Professor K. Rammohan Rao Garu, Vice Chairman APSHI, and Dr. V. Subhashini, retired HOD and former IQAC coordinator, KBN College, Dr. P. Anil Kumar, Academic Officer, Office of the Commissioner of Collegiate Education, Dr. M. Babu Reddy, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science, Krishna University, Machilipatnam, and Sri Matthew Srirangam Garu, Academic Officer, Andhra Pradesh State Council of Higher Education, for their valuable inputs and also for accepting our invitation and for bringing out a very valuable inputs during these sessions. With these few words, I conclude my remarks, and I now request Dr. Bharati Devi to present the report of the conference.
Good afternoon, respected dignitaries, participants, and my dear student friends. Now, happily, we are in the closing session of NAC-sponsored two-day national conference on impact of best practices in quality enhancement in higher education institutions. I would like to thank National Assessment and Accreditation Council Bangalore for sponsoring this conference, and I also thank APSHI for giving collaboration to organize the conference in such a great manner. Professor K. Rammohan Rao Garu, Vice Chairman, APSHI, was the keynote speaker for the first day, and he explained about various learning resources used to enhance the knowledge in the subjects to the teachers. The second session was handled by Dr. Subhashini ma'am, and she explained about that why it is mandatory for every college to go for assessment the benefits of accreditation, eligibility criteria to apply for the NAC. Today, the first session handled by Dr. P. Anil Kumar Garu, Academic Officer from CCE. He explained about the roles and functionalities of HCIs and also the importance of maintaining quality circles in each department, by each department. The immediate session was handled by Dr. M. Baburetti Garu, Department of Computer Science, Krishna University, was on teaching, learning, evaluation process. He explained about various teaching methods suitable for 21st century, like flipped classrooms, design thinking, etc. Finally, the last session was handled by Sri Matthew Sirindam Garu, the man of behind the quality enrichment, the man who continuously hunting for quality and sustenance educational standards. Moreover, he is an encyclopedia and kind-hearted to help with just one phone call. He has given a sufficient knowledge on pedagogy techniques and best practices in quality enhancement. He also explained the reforms in evaluation process. Finally, I thank all the members of the management and administrative staff, HODs, in charges of NAC, IPSC members, participants from different states, print and electronic media, and the non-teaching staff for making this conference a resound success even in the situation of pandemic. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bharati, for presenting your report on the two-day national level conference. And I now request the chief guest of today's valedictory session, Sri Matthew Sridhar Garu, to deliver his valedictory address.
So already I spoke for more than 1 hour, 1.5 hours. So there is not nothing much to say except for congratulating the principal, the vice principal, the IQC coordinator, and all the faculty members of KBN College for conducting a useful workshop, both both online as well as offline. So maybe we expect that the best practices followed by KBN College will be made benchmarks, and maybe the other institutions also should emulate from the best practices of KBN College. So once again, I thank the authorities for giving me the opportunity to be associated with this workshop. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So for your short and sweet message. Of course, you can speak volumes, but then as you have already given a presentation, so I thought you are so brief on this particular day. Anyhow, thank you very much for your good wishes and for your greetings to us. I now request Ms. Geeta Pavani, lecturer in computer science, to propose. Oh, just a moment. Before that, we have to honor today's chief guest. So it's now time for us to felicitate the chief guest of today's valedictory session. I request Dr. K. Naveen Kumar and Mr. J. Panduranga Garu to come and join us in felicitating our chief guest. I request Ms. Geeta Pavli, Lecturer, Department of Computer Science, to propose a formal vote of thanks.
Good afternoon to all and all. This is Geeta Pavli from the Department of Computer Science. I am here to propose a formal vote of thanks. Today, I take this opportunity to put all my gratitude from the form of words. On behalf of Department of Computer Science and Applications, first, I would like to thank our Chief Guest Professor A. Rammohan Rao, Vice Chairman, APSLHG, for taking his presence time out. We are really elegant with your knowledge and presence on this occasion. Thank you, sir. I would like to thank from the bottom of our hearts to the resource person, Dr. V. Subhashni, Retired Head, Department of Zoology, KPM College, Vijayawada, for their gracious presence on this occasion. Thank you, ma'am. Now, would like to thank Dr. P. Anil Kumar Garu, Academic Officer, CCE, for their gracious presence on this occasion. Thank you, sir. Now, would like to thank Dr. M. Babu Reddy Garu, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science, Krishna University. Thank you, sir. Now, would like to thank Sri Mathu Sriyagam, Academic Officer, APSCHE, for their gracious presence on the occasion. Thank you, sir. It's time to thank the management of KBM College, Secretary and Correspondent, T. Srinivas Rao Garu, for his encouragement and esteemed support and cooperation in arranging this conference with help in the enhancement of knowledge of academic. I extend my gratitude to our dear Principal E. Sri V. Varaprasad Garu for motivating us. Thank you, sir. It's my privilege to thank our Vice Principal, Dr. K. Naveen Kumar Garu, for their gracious presence on this occasion. Thank you, sir. It's my privilege to thank our Director and Academic and Planning, Sri P. L. Ramesh Garu, for supporting us. Thank you, sir. It's my privilege to thank our Director of PG Courses, Sri S. Venkatesh Garu, for supporting us. Thank you, sir. I express my deep gratitude to our EO, Sri N. Srinivas Rao Garu, who supported us continuously to conduct this event. Thank you, sir. I wish all the best to all the participants for the active participation in this event. My special thanks to Sri P. Ravindra, Head Department of Computer Science Applications, and his team for making this event on 8 through YouTube, so the people who are not here physically can see this unforgettable event through YouTube. We would like to thank press and electronic media with a request to kindly arrange coverage for today's events. Last but not the least, as no program can become successful with a single person. So, we thank all the teaching and non-teaching staff, my dear friends, for their cooperation in organizing this program. Thank you.
Let us all stand for the national anthem.
पंजाब सिंधु गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभाशिष मागे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे